Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. Presented by Carolina Lightweights. Come grip with us. When the action begins in the studio, our referees for tonight's event are Elgato Azul and Carolina Real Streamers. For the viewers in attendance and Facebook and YouTube users around the world, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Live from the Elgato Azul TV studio in Louisville, Texas, it's time! What's up, slime lovers? I'm your host, Chris, a.k.a. Elgato Azul, a partner in slime, Mr. Jamie Dunn, Carolina Lightweights. Over the top, Scuba Steve.
Scuba Steve.
What's up, Steve?
Not much. What's going on?
Baby. Tonight we're going to be discussing how to, what it takes to be a great angler. And me and Jamie had discussed the topic earlier today. We were trying to figure out what we could do for the show. And so I figured who better than Steve to come on here and discuss being a good angler, because he's one of the best. So appreciate you coming on, Steve. I'm sure we'll talk tips, tactics, some tall tales. Before we get started, let's just run through here quickly and say what's up to everybody. My mouse is not working very good. Let me see if I can get my mouse working.
How do you see the chat? Can I see it from on this?
You should be able to pull pin on. Are you on Facebook or the YouTube side there?
That StreamYard on just on my phone.
Yeah, I have to do it off my iPad.
Oh yeah.
My mouse is not wanting to work.
A second.
There it goes. All right, we'll run through here. We got Walt McCorkle. What's up, Walt? Walt got him a 85-pounder today or yesterday on his Operation Bets with Nets trip. Congrats, Walt. Congrats to your vet. That's a pretty epic trip right there. Looks like y'all had a great trip on the James, so congrats, buddy. Operation Bets with Nets. Rich Segura, our Operation Bets with Nets brother. Welcome in. Cross-eyed catfishing. Welcome in, buddy. It's slime time, he said. Moving on down, Creole catfishing. What's up, Creole? Welcome in, buddy. Joe Baker says, good evening. Lewis Parker, evening, guys. Eagle Eyes, Juan Tienda, what's going on, slime family? 351 Cleveland. El Gato, what's up, buddy? John Bubba New says Steve and gives you a big kiss.
Old country.
Brian Henry, Chris and Jamie, it's Slime Time Wednesday. Let's talk catfishing. You came to the right place, Brian. Kevin Patrick Thacker, 285 is my preferred cat size, but congrats on the 85. 285, you must be going after Wells catfish. Alex, Texas Fishing. What's up, y'all? Cats on the Rock Guide Service. Welcome in, buddy. Says, what's up, fam? Creole says he's having catfish withdrawals. He's reeling down on fish in his sleep.
Where did we catch that 85 on the James?
On the James.
That's a really good fish on the James River. There's big fish on the James, but 85 is really big for the James River. Yeah, you only see a couple of those a year.
Big and fat.
If that,
Yeah, it was a nice fish. And they caught some other really good ones too, which would have been epic without the 85. But the 85 is something you'll never forget, especially having a vet on the boat, because I've done it with some vets on the boat. And it was a trip I'll never forget. It was just as memorable for me. So congrats. Trent Hall says, what's up, fellas? Missed last week. Good to see you. Welcome in, Trent. David Coffrin says, what's up? Yo says, is this the CEO of TFR? No, this is the big fish extraordinaire who uses TFR.
Yeah, no, that's Justin owns TFR. I just fish with him all the time. So.
Kevin Patrick Thacker said, heard new North Carolina record. I heard it was caught on a limb line and killed. So.
Yeah.
Is that the flathead?
That's the flathead, yeah.
Was like 80 or something?
I believe, what was it, Chris? 89 or 81, somewhere up in there?
Oh.
It was a nice, I seen the picture, man. It was a nice looking flathead, and unfortunately didn't get put back in and CPR'd.
Yeah, limb liners. That's a limb liner for you. JBN says 91.
Wow.
91?
That's starting to become a Texas-sized flathead.
That's a big flathead.
That is a big flatty.
It was on the Black River, I believe they said it was.
I still have yet to see one even come close to the world record flathead, though. That fish was just a freak. What was it, 120?
Right around 100 every year out of Texas, which I think is incredible.
Yeah. But that one out of where was that, Kansas? It was like 123.
Yeah, that's insane. And I bet I think there's probably fish that size are just damn impossible to catch. You get one like that and he just sits there. How do you yank him out of there? You're not getting him out of there.
Yeah, I fished the south part of Black River on this end down here that connects to the Big PD and connects to the intercoastal down here. And there are some big fish on that Black River.
Yeah. Somebody noodled one out of Tawakoni last year that was 99. They dove down. That was on a ledge. They dove down. It was in 13 feet of water. They were wearing wetsuits with scuba gear, and they dove down, which I thought was a little deep for them to be spawning, but they were that sucker was in a hole on a hump. It was in 13 feet.
Yeah.
It was on the ledge under a rock. Mosley says, what's up, fellas? Welcome in, Mosley. Kevin Patrick Thacker says 123 flat. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that albino that was caught at Pax Landing, I don't think that fish survived neither, or am I wrong on that?
It did. I don't think so.
That was another nice catfish, man. It should have been CPR'd for sure.
Man, there's a lot of people that don't care about them. So, I mean, it is.
Yeah, even the Mississippi state record last year or the year before, that same thing. He put that on the back of his truck.
Yeah, sad, man.
That was another 100, whatever, 20 or whatever.
Crazy. Yeah, I saw one of those Palex put three 100-pounders in last week. I'm like, 3 100-pounders just to go in there and die. Pretty sad. Sad state of it's sad because we got to see all that constantly now with social media. It's right in your face almost every day now. I don't know how we change it, guys, but Jerry Parker says, evening. JP got him an 85 River Monster out of the Mississippi this past week. Looks like he edged old Steve out in the tournament for Bill Journey.
He put it on quick, right? And I can catch fish that big if I get enough time, but the wind was bad. I'm not making excuses at all. He did excellent. I was like, man, he's going to make it tough. But on the last day, I had a rod hang up, and I broke the line. And I was going along this bluff wall, and I just caught that 57. And, man, my rod dumped harder than I've ever seen. I'm not joking. That board went under the water like 1,000 miles an hour, just dumped the line and smoked. I've only ever seen 2 smoke them like that. They were over 100. But there was current. Not saying it was a 100-pound fish. I'd never seen it. It wasn't no 60-pounder. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when I retied the line, I forgot to freaking back the drag off, and he snapped my 40-pound mono clean off the hit. I was sick to my
man.
stomach. So there's a big old catfish running around Wheeler Lake with a freaking weight hanging out of his mouth. I was like, man, I was like, I'm going to give him a run for his money. It's going to be close. And no, he's gone. And then after that, I got sick. I went home. I said, you ain't going to get 2 of them in a day. You know?
Yeah, I would have definitely went home too, brother.
Yeah, I tried. I gave it hell, but man, Jerry put him on the bank there in the Mississippi. That was insane.
Jerry's about as good a bank angler as you'll ever see. He's really very consistent on catching giant fish. It's just the dude knows how to catch them. Trent says there's one of them 120-pound flatheads down here in Whitney. Just ain't caught him yet. I wouldn't doubt it, man. With the amount of timber, there's 100-pounders in probably the majority of our Texas lakes that have timber. And a lot of these lakes have produced a 100-pounder. So for there to be 120, I would say great chance. I mean, catching it, not a great chance. Even if you hooked it, probably 1 in 1,000 chance to get the sumbitch out of whatever he's buried in. I doubt you're going to catch a fish that size out in the open.
Yeah.
I just don't. Those big fish like that barely even move. And that not the last several hundreds that were caught out of Texas this last year, the 100 was in an old there was an old submerged roadway, and there was a tube that went under the roadway from when it was above water, and the 100 was in that tube. So if you were able to get a bait to it and you hooked that, you ain't getting him out of that tube. He ain't moving. So
I can tell you, Chris, Saturday night, man, the flatties were definitely hung tight to the stumps Saturday night. Them bad boys, we were all up in the stump Saturday night, man, and they were all up in there, and damn, it was a job.
KPT says, love y'all or CPR. Well, most guys that really been doing it a long time, all the ones I know, CPR. It's the meat haulers are generally the ones that luckily catch a big one and keep it. Chris Thompson, appreciate you, bro. Says Elgato, the legend. I'm up here in the clouds with greatness tonight. So let's see. Creole says 131-pound blue caught in Natchez, Mississippi, 30 miles north of where we fish.
Yeah, the Mississippi holds the biggest catfish in the world. Blue catfish and flatheads. I don't care what anybody says. It's just the problem with the problem
water. So you would think that's where
the problem there is those fish migrate hundreds of miles every year, and it's so big, so wide open, so much current. The actual chances of you landing a giant there, it's like slim to none. And if you do hook into one in like the deep water out there in the current, it's like 7 miles an hour.
Yeah.
The chance of you getting it in the boat are slim. It's like what Tim does when he catches those big giant fish up there. I mean, that is not easy to do. And for you to actually, I bet you if you ask Tim how many
target them, I think it's really cool.
But if you ask Tim how many of those he actually lost, compared to what I bet you did anybody ever ask him that question?
I asked him. He said usually he gets about 1 in 3 or 4.
Yeah, it's very, very
tough. A lot of them they work you. You can't get off the anchor quick enough to go out because they're in, like you said, they're in that heavy current, and when they decide they want to go the other direction, you can't stop.
There's no stopping them, no.
Yeah, yeah, and he's caught giant fish. 130s. He caught one. He didn't weigh it, but it was world class. It was a world record size fish.
It was close, if not. Yeah, for sure. There's no doubt in my mind. I've seen the video. I've seen the picture.
Like over the side of the boat, I'm like, that just looks photoshopped. It's so freaking. It just looks so crazy looking.
Did you ever see the little video floating around of that guy that couldn't get it on the boat and weigh it? Not Tim.
Yeah, that's
That
insane.
that was out of Mississippi. I bet you that.
Yeah,
fish
and
was up on the
they
boat.
measured what it was up
Mhm.
against. It was
That might have been a 150-pound fish, honest. Like seriously, like no bullcrap, But you'll never know. So.
Yeah, and Tim's telling me about a story about someone had caught one. A commercial fisherman had caught one, and they had taken measurements of it, but they processed it at the meat processing facility, and it was well over any world record. But there's no real proof of it other than just the tail of it. So who knows? They say back in the 1800s they were catching giants out of the Mississippi River. But they netted. I guess those fish took a hurting from commercial fishing, and I don't know. You pull those giants out, it's hard for them to recover.
Not only that, the industry alone on the Mississippi River did a lot of damage.
Yeah,
and putting dams in and all the. That river's in pretty rough shape, really.
Chris, do you
Tim
know where
says
they
to catch them? He goes into water that no one else would even think to fit. They just like a different pressure. They like a different kind of current than all the other fish. And you to go where they actually like. There's really no other fish. There's no bait there. There's nothing there other than the fish. He's like when he would find the really big ones, there's bait close, but not where they are. So I thought that was interesting. Outside of my wheelhouse, so I don't know. I'd like to go fish with him.
For sure.
I'm going to go fishing with Steve too soon. So,
do you know where they can see that video? They were asking in chat. Is there a place they can go see that video of the one you were just talking about?
Tim's
or the other one?
The other one I saw. I'm not sure where I saw the one.
Dieter Melhorn.
They couldn't get it over the side of the boat. They couldn't get it in the boat, right, Steve?
Yeah, if you look at Dieter Melhorn, he made a video about it. It was pretty detailed, and it shows pictures of that fish in Mississippi. Not the one Kim caught, but the one that may have been bigger than that, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's Dieter. If you haven't,
they looked
Google,
at the fish, but then they measured where you could see the head and the tail, and it was
big. It was really big. But yeah, that came out of Mississippi.
JP said he lost a fish just as big, 85, the 85 the day before.
Yeah. It's that time of the year on the James. It's very good. There's a short little span here in spring where it gets really good. That's one of my favorite places to fish.
Jody says, hello, Chris, Jamie, and Steve. Welcome in, Jody.
I used to work 70 hours, get home, hook up my boat, drive 5.5 hours to James, fish all weekend, sleep on my boat, and be back at work on Monday morning. Like every weekend.
My money was with you, Steve.
It was.
I'll make a trip down there for sure, brother, and fish with you anytime.
Kevin Packer says, y'all fish flooded waters down here in Kentucky. It's higher than it since 97.
Yeah.
I've seen y'all are getting flooded out.
Flooded waters are usually really, really, really good for catfishing, even if they're blown out. The only thing you got to watch for mainly is it's very dangerous, right? Like those trees come, they'll pull your anchor under, and a lot of bad things can happen. You have to be really careful, right? And it does be, it can get to the point where you just don't go out there. It's stupid. You know what I mean? And they're like that right now. That's when you get hurt.
Crazy. Cat fishermen are crazy.
Yeah, but it's really bad there right now. Like it's like 60 feet above or something. It's ridiculous.
You better be a well-seasoned cat fisherman and have done it for a while to mess with a lot of floodwaters.
Yeah, and if you do go out, you better not be going out in a kayak or John boat.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Things can go south quick, man. I've seen full trees coming down hitting
Mhm.
anchors, and I mean, you better just have a knife ready to cut from it quick.
Yo-Yo says, what water temp do they start spawning?
Typically around 70, 75, 70. That's when they'll start.
Yeah, so our fish, we'll have a shad spawn around 70, 72 degrees, and our fish will hold off until the threadfin spawn's over. I believe they use that threadfin spawn just as one last gorge, and then as soon as that's over, our big fish season's over. You might catch a few late spawners, but they generally, the best ones have all gone to do their thing. And
Yeah, we just hit 74 here Saturday night. Ours was 74 degrees.
dang, yeah, that came up fast, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It really did. Now,
We had a big cold front here. It was 27 last weekend.
Yeah, we got one this week, so I don't think it's gonna mess with it much, but I think it's gonna still hang around 73 to 74 right now.
Jeremy Creole catfishing says, definitely got to be living your life right to get a monster to the boat in his water.
Yeah.
What's the average water speed down there, Steve, in Creole, where y'all like to fish down there? What's the average speed of the water?
Where at?
In the Mississippi, where you're talking about going down and fishing. What happened to Jamie? He blacked out on us. Yeah, what's that water speed on that Mississippi when it's roaring?
When it's roaring, it's unbelievable. It's like stupid. Like you don't even want to be in it fast, right? There's definitely certain parts, and you got them wing dikes and all that stuff. But when it's up, it rolls. I mean, you'll get 5 mile an hour turn when it's 30 foot low.
Yeah.
You know, so when it's flooded, it's insane. Especially, it depends where you're at too, right? So, but it's just, I don't know. That river there is literally the most dangerous river in the country, if you ask me. Just because there's so much stuff floating around. There's all kinds of wing dikes and sandbars, stuff that you better have a good grasp, and you better not go flying down that river at 70 at night if you don't know it really well. You got barges putting 10-foot weights. I mean, it could be scary stuff down there. You got to really watch it. It ain't no Tennessee River. All you have to worry about there is wakes, right? But
Wesley Grubb says, hello all. Jimmy Floyd says, got my t-shirt from Jamie. Love them. Thanks.
Heck yeah, brother. Appreciate you.
Oh, I guess I'm just behind, which is typical for me.
I must be having something's going on with my internet, Chris. I think it's me that keeps cutting in and out or going off, or something's going on over here.
All right. Walt says mid-70s.
We got Smackdown rod holders.
What's up, fellas?
We got Smackdown rod holders in the house. Appreciate you guys.
Alabama. Before that, you were up around the James River, right, Steve?
I'm from Pennsylvania, so I fished the Susquehanna all the time, and we would just smash flat hits. We'd go out there catch multiple 40, 50-pound fish every time we went out. We learned that very well, and then from there I started going to, I would say, the Potomac, then the James River. Then I started venturing off farther and farther and farther, and kind of tried to fish every type of water and place, just to get the experience, Yeah. Because if you can show up to, if you're not used to lakes and stuff, and you come down here to Wheeler Lake and you just show up, you could catch a big fish, but you're not going to do it day after day after day after day. It takes a lot. It's just completely different than anywhere else you ever fished, right? And I'm sure Texoma's like that too.
Yeah.
But once you figure it out, I wouldn't say it becomes easy, but you kind of have an idea before you go fishing, right? You know, they're either going to be here, here, or here, right? But if you just show up in a big place like that, same with Texoma, and you have no idea,
Even
you're
if
on a
you
wild
think
goose
about
chase.
Texoma, Steve, it's still, I don't know, those fish seem to really fish different on that lake, and they move so freaking far. It's not like most lakes where you can hound dog them. You're like, all right, I know they were here. The weather's this, you know, what the weather was this. Today it's this, and we got this coming. They should be here. Well, that works on most every other fishery. But Texoma, you can throw all that crap out the window because it's just fish is different. And why it's that way, I have no idea. I don't think anyone knows. They said they will never have another major catfish tournament here because all the guys from all over the country came here and they're like, no, we ain't coming back. It was brutally hard for them. And the guides know it because they know where those striper pop up.
Yeah.
Okay. Striper pop up over there this time of day and over, you know, but to be able, I think, to really do well on that lake constantly, you got to be connected with all the different guides who are saying they just popped up over here. All right, they popped up over here. And a lot of my really high level catfish guide buddies leave that lake a lot.
Yeah.
Like and it's a great lake. When it's really good, it's great. But man, when it's bad,
there ain't many there that survive very long. You know.
Yeah.
Daniel's pretty good, right?
Daniel's really good. He's
really good.
He goes to other lakes.
Yeah.
He's good. I would say Daniel's as good an angler as anybody in the country.
Yep. Oh yeah, for sure.
Really good. He's grown up fishing. His dad has been kicking ass in the tournament scene for 25, 30 years. And Daniel grew up on the boat. So I think highly of Daniel. He's a great angler.
Oh yeah, he's a great person too, all around.
He's a good dude. He's helped me a lot on that lake.
Oh yeah.
Years.
But even like John B here said, Bugs Kerr is one of the hardest fisher I've been on. That's what I heard. But I can tell you this, Adam Cook never fished that lake before, showed up, because he'll scan for 7 hours before he even throws the line in. And the very first day he fished that lake, he caught a 105-pound fish, the very first time he ever fished it. So I'm not saying it's not, I'm just saying that's pretty cool, I guess. I haven't fished it yet. I want to go fish it because that's where all the world record fish came from.
Yeah. I think, once you get really good at catfishing lakes, you can pretty much go to most lakes and do well. It's there, if you know how to do the check down of, all right, where's the bait? How deep what's the magic depth for the day? And it might take you, if you go to a completely different part of the country, it might take you a few days to really dial in the different patterns. But catfish behavior is pretty similar regardless of where you go. It's different for a river and a lake, but lake-wise, most lakes fish, not all lakes fish the same. Canyon lakes fish different than a timber lake. A mid-depth timber lake is going to fish different than a canyon lake. But if you fished, each variety of lake, you can pretty much go anywhere and do it.
Yeah.
If you want to challenge yourself, go flathead fishing in lakes. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you're right about that.
If you catch big flatheads in a lake, an actual lake, consistently, you're doing something right.
I'm going fishing
I'm
with
not gonna
William
lie.
Oliver July 13th, man. I'm going to learn something. I'm going to learn that I'm probably going to need to cough up a bunch of money for live scope because the dude is the best I have ever seen. It is unfreaking believable what that guy does every trip.
I know. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him, but there's a guy up in Pennsylvania. His name's Mike Hoover. Probably never heard of him. He's one of the best striper guides up there, and he started catfishing. And the Susquehanna River can be very tough at times, right? It can be very good, but it can be very tough. That guy can show up, not fish for 6 months, not even be on the water. He'll show up, nobody's catching anything all week, and he'll catch 40 to 50 flatheads in an 8-hour trip and go home. He's catching 20 on one anchor spot. He's just, some people are just on a different level, and he's not even known. Nobody even knows this guy. If he was serious, he could probably go out and whoop everybody's butt if he really wanted to, So
William's the same type. He's been pretty quiet, but somewhat well known in the Texas catfishing scene. But he entered the tournament circuit about a year and a half ago, and I think he won every tournament but one. Because he's able to put giant flatheads and giant blues in the boat with that live scope. Because bag limits, most guys, blues have always traditionally won all of our tournaments. But when you can put 40, 50-pound blue, in the boat alongside a 50-pound flathead, it's hard to compete against that guy on tournament scale. So
yeah,
they're going to change. I've heard they're changing a lot of the rules, and it's because of him live scoping. So
yeah, I hear a lot of talk about that, Chris, with the live scope, the rules, and all this. There's a lot.
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I think it would be cool. I would like to go in the summertime when I'm not able to catch giant fish. He's like, Chris, just here, look at this, and he showed me these crazy. And he's on the tagging program. He tagged 550 flatheads last year. That's a lot, and they're all big. I mean, he won't fish them unless they're big. So, broken a lot of records. His daughter's broken a lot of records. Live scoping flatheads on timber. So there's more to learn, boys.
That's for sure. JB talking about Santee Cooper, stupid hard, man. I tell you, that's one of the lakes I definitely love fishing. Santee Cooper. It can beat you down sometimes, Chris. I've talked with you during a tournament down there, and after the tournament, the second day turning around, it could be totally different.
Y'all got it figured out. Y'all got it figured out. You give a good angler enough time on. Steve's frozen, man. He's like.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
I'm reading the comments. I'm sorry. I figured it out. There's my buddy Terry. Donate Life Catfishing. Terry Woodrow. Terry's awesome, man. I used to fish with Terry years ago.
Terry's a good guy, man.
Let me try to get caught up real quick because I get behind. I hate to not give people show people love. So let's run through here. Clearview. What's up, Skip? Welcome in. Smackdown Catfishing. What's up? That's probably Peter Drees. Welcome in, Peter.
Yep.
Parker Pursuit. What's up? Oh, we already said hey to Jerry. He's the one that beat Steve.
They got me. I tried.
Well, Steve's out of here. I guess he got mad at Jerry. Walt says 35 this morning. Rob Shoemake. What's up, Rob? Had Rob on the boat 2 weekends ago. Got his son a PB. Welcome in, Rob. Wesley Grubbs III says Tennessee has been in the mid to upper 50s. Jesse Ogden, 64 water temp in Harrisburg, PA. Creole catfishing average is probably 5 miles per hour right now in the Mississippi. JP says Mississippi's dangerous, but damn, he loves her. There's Steve. He's back.
Yeah, I hit the wrong button. Sorry.
Randall Woodfork says, what's up, guys? Welcome in, Randall. Creole Catfishing says there's no place like home.
You know, Chris, they talk about the temperature up there.
James River with the muscle flex. Lance McCoo guy says, evening, everyone. Welcome in, Lance. Moving on down. Let me just get caught up real quick, boys. John B says Bugs is one of the hardest fisheries he's been on. Trinity Outdoors, good evening, everyone. JBN says Santee is stupid hard. You probably went on a tough day, which makes you say, man, this damn lake's hard.
It was tough when them boys were down there for that show, for sure.
Trinity Outdoors, yeah, boy. Chris Wheeler, love flathead fishing lakes. William is the man. I would agree. I've never seen an angler like him who catches flatheads. It's incredible what he does. Kevin Patrick Thacker says, that's why I watch the Slime Show. Y'all on a different level. Appreciate that, buddy. All right, we caught up. I didn't see Terry Woodrow in here. Where'd you see him, Steve?
Donate Life.
Okay.
Donate Life Catfish. It's right under Jesse.
Okay. For some reason, Facebook's side doesn't pop up on my StreamYard sometimes. So apologize for any of you guys.
Jesse said Jeremiah is with Battle Cat Catfish, an amazing flathead guy.
Do y'all have me, brother?
I can hear you, man.
Yeah.
We got you. You're breaking up, but I don't know if that's you or us. Steve, you got us, right? You got me?
Yep, I got you.
Must be you, Jamie. You do look a little robot-y.
Robot-y.
Max Headroom. Well, Steve, looks like you got into a work thing that has messed up your fishing, but you finally got to get back on the water. So,
yeah, it was kind of my choice. I didn't have to, but I was trying to get some new certifications and stuff. So,
yeah,
I was doing a lot of overtime, but I can get back out there now. Fishing's really good right now. Actually, it was unbelievable.
Like smoking them.
I caught like 62 fish last night, and I even had 8 rods go down at once. I had one board go, and then when I was reeling that one in, 2 more went, and before I got all the fish on the boat, every single one was dead. It was a mess.
Yeah, that's a good time. Were you?
I mean, they were all 30-pounders pretty much, but it was just fun.
You know, it seems like when you're really on them like that, they're generally 20 to 40-pound fish.
Yep. That's where they'll really get congregated, that size, like really heavily.
Yeah, typically when I catch really giant fish, they're not anywhere near. I'm not really catching those other size fish a lot. It's like
no. So what I actually did to catch a decently big fish was, like, say yesterday when I went out, or the day before, whatever day that was, I was catching all them fish. Well, usually down here, at least, when you're catching all them fish, and they're good fish, 20s and 30s, I mean, you might catch that 50, 60 in with them. Yeah. But usually the bigger fish are going to be somewhere in that vicinity, because that's where the bait is, that's where the fish are feeding, but they won't necessarily be in that pack. So
I found the same thing. They're generally
what I typically, I'll tend to go maybe a mile down or a mile up, or maybe closer to the bank or out to the channel, just away from that main pack. And that's usually where I'll catch the really big fish. And believe it or not, the really big ones, like the 80+ pound fish here, you probably won't believe me, but most of them don't come off structure. They come in the middle of the dang channel.
Well,
where nobody fishes.
Typically, I would call the channel structure. I mean, you know, even if it's silted in, the fish know it's there.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it might not be a ledge or, you know, but I definitely call the channel a piece of structure. Even when guys are like, man, I'm out here on the channel where you told me to fish, and it's just silt. There's no channel. I'm like, doesn't matter. The fish know it's there.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, they still like to use that channel. It's not. I call that definitely call that structure. I'm in the channel a lot. Hell, I've caught tons of fish in the channel. they like those bends, you know, anytime it gets close to another, like I like something that kind of maybe is if that channel is close to a secondary piece of structure, like it bends close to a hump, or it seems like that those types of deals tend to hold the
Well, there's a lot of places down here where the main channel will be like one. I don't want to say exact numbers because someone might figure it out, but say it's 30 foot deep. The channel's 30 foot deep. It runs, and there's big flats with stumps. So, you know, and there's bait. There's fish there. But so like a lot of times where those fish will be hiding in the actual channel, there will be like, there's a couple spots out here where it's like a football sized little hump that just comes up 2 foot, right? It'll come up, say it's at 30, it'll come up 28 foot. It's just like a big, basically like a football sized hump out in the middle of the channel. And they're sitting up on there.
Yeah, they like something different.
Yeah. And a lot of times that's where the mussel beds will be, you know.
Yeah.
Down here at least, you know, because they like to feed on the mussel beds here. So
they
you don't
definitely love that.
Our mussel beds are a little shallower.
Yeah. We got some a little deeper, and we got shallow ones and deeper ones here. But you definitely need to learn how to locate mussel beds if you want to catfish on places that have mussel beds, right?
Yeah.
And that could be tricky.
And you know, Steve, when you put one in the live well, I mean, you get an opportunity to see what a lot of them eats and stuff. You know, I study off of that a lot, and you see a lot of mussels. You know, these catfish love eating.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. I've already had to scoop them out with a shovel. You know.
Yeah.
There's that many.
Yeah.
You know.
Walt says they sure don't show up on the fish finder. It's a lying machine. The fish finder doesn't always lie. That thing.
I'll tell you right now.
It's pretty truthful on fish. I mean, I mark a ton of big fish, and doesn't mean you're going to catch them, but at least it tells you if you're in the right area.
I'm not going to lie. There are days where I'll mark fish and the fish are just being stubborn, right? They're not biting. I know they're there. I can see them. They're just not biting. You know what I do on them days a lot? And this is usually when I'll catch a really big fish. I shut that fish finder off. I just turn the chart on and I go old school. You know, I'm going to go drag this because I believe there's going to be a fish here, right? And I don't always do it, but when they're not biting, I mean, I don't necessarily 1000% always rely on just that fish finder. I know a lot of people do. I do a lot, but when it gets tough, I'm going to instinct fishing, right?
When it gets tough for me, I typically try to move to a piece of structure that I think maybe they're sitting on and waiting for something to come to them.
There is a lot of times in the heavy structure. There's a lot of times you ain't going to see them on the fish finder in the heavy structure.
Sure.
You just won't see it.
And on those weird days where they're not biting, a lot of times they're just laying down. That you can't see a lot of them because they're laid down. And when I say lay down, they'll bury down.
Yeah, straight up to their dorsal fin.
Yeah, they'll wallow.
Steve, you just made a good point. You know, about sometimes, you know, I've done it several times, cutting the depth finder off, go back old school, and start catching fish. Sometimes, you know, we do rely on them things 100% when we maybe should go old school sometimes.
Yeah, not always, but you know, there are times where you got to just go fish, right? Because you can, if you're having a tough time and you're driving around the lake or the river and you're just looking at that fish finder, literally, like, yeah, you got to find fish, but if you're driving around for 6 hours out of the 8-hour tournament looking at size scan, you're not going to do anything, or just digging out fun fishing. You know,
I typically I'll grade my areas, and then if I don't see anything that doesn't really excite me, I go back to area. I grade them. So A, B, C, D. All right, which one was the best that I think I have my best opportunity? Because I'm the same with you. I believe sometimes the big ones you just don't see them. They're lying in wait.
They can be.
to go
They could be,
hit one in the face.
to go out there and catch 70 and 80 plus pound fish and do it, I wouldn't say not every day, but pretty consistently is very, very, very difficult. I don't care if you live on the best waters in the world. It is very, very difficult, right? And it takes a lot of time and fish in different places and with different people. I mean, it takes a lot, right? Like, it's not something you can do in 3-4 years even. It's not going to happen, right? It takes a long time to do. It takes a lot of dedication. It takes fishing with some of the best people. You're not going to figure it all out on your own is number one. That's definitely never going to happen, right? So if you have an ego and you can't listen to other people that's been doing it longer than you, you're in trouble. You know,
that's for sure. Anybody that thinks they know everything, you're a fool, because
you know,
more to learn. And in reality, this catfishing thing it's just now really taking off, where the wealth of knowledge and the sharing of knowledge is finally hit a different level. And you know,
and I've seen stuff out on our water. These fish are smart. They're a lot smarter than most people think they are. They don't just bottom feed, right?
We talked about that when Epic Catfish was on, how intelligent big catfish are.
Yeah.
I literally I'll fish a lot. Like, I haven't been doing it right now because I just hate pre-spawn fishing. I hate it with a passion. I don't know why. I just don't catch them. It's just catching the really, really big ones. I have trouble with it, right? Like catching like a 90-pound fish, compared to like winter or late summer or early fall here, right?
Some of our best fish have come off pre-spawn, Steve, up right around the inlet of the river. That's where we typically have caught all our best fish.
I mean, I'll catch 50, 60, 70-pound fish. It's just like the really, really big ones just kind of disappear on me. I don't know where they go. It's difficult.
I think they move up towards spawning habitat first. They're early before everybody, and they might even go earlier than everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I believe they seek out the highest valued real estate first, and they go get close to it.
No, for sure. Like, even like when those big fish are on the structure, right? A lot of times that big fish, the really, really big one, I'm saying the 90, 100-pound fish, there would be nothing. Like, basically no structure, no nothing. But you'll find one single big piece of structure, and there's no fish near it. No bait, no fish, no nothing. The reason being is because it's a big old 90-pound fish sitting on that piece of structure all by himself, and he claimed it. And there's nobody coming near him because he'll eat them, right? And that's usually where the really big fish are, in an isolated piece of structure off from everything. And that you mark a big old fish there, and you throw lines on them, and that's where you're going to catch the really, really big ones, right?
All the really big ones that I see that are up there this time of year are all around alligator gar.
Yeah,
the only big catfish around them. I think they're eating those giant carp that those big alligator gar are feeding on. It's like, I'm gonna eat right here before I spawn. I'm gonna get all these easy meals. These gar are feeding on these carp and injuring them. That's where I see them. It's hard in Texoma. It's hard to see them any other time of year than right now, because the lakes I don't know, man.
Well, even down here on Pickwick, we got a lot of gar, long-nosed gar, like a lot. They're like 5-footers.
Yeah.
And they'll be like a school of like 10,000 of them, right? And they're just eating the carp and shad. And everybody, like, if they get into that, they will pull their lines. They go, oh, my baits are getting eaten up by the gar. A lot of times, we'll take big old baits and stick them down there on a super short leader and get them down in the mud right in that, because there are usually big fish eating the whatever.
What I found.
Yep.
A lot of my guide buddies like, oh, you get around them gar, you just got to move. But I just started
I fishing
for them and catching giant fish out of them. So I was like, shit, when I see that and I see some big fish, because the giant catfish will be just kind of kicked off to the side. You can see them fall. They just fall on them. They're singles, maybe a double.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if you noticed though, but
that gar pattern can be one of the best. Now you're not going to catch a lot of fish around them, but the ones you catch are typically going to be really big.
I don't know if anybody
find the striper, and I agree, man. I fish around the striper a lot, except for pre-spawn when they move up into dirty water, and the striper don't like to be up in the dirty water. They typically stay outside the mud line, and that's about the only time of year I see them really separating away from those. If you're on a striper lake, you better know the freaking striper pattern if you want to really do well, because they're around those striper a lot, and they're not eating what the striper are eating. They are eating the striper. I can show you.
Did you ever notice how I catch a lot of big gar on 12-aught hooks?
Yeah.
I'm fishing that for a reason. All right. I hate catching them, but it's worth it sometimes. Because sometimes you catch a big old fish and then.
Chris, tonight's show, man, we were doing the thing about what makes a fisherman great. Average
forgot
fisherman.
about all that.
I'm sitting here listening. I'm listening at both of you guys. Y'all put in so much time on the water figuring things out and stuff. Steve, I know, man, you catch big catfish. Chris catches big fat catfish also. How much time, Steve, have you put in, you think, probably trying to figure all this stuff out?
That's not even an answer.
So do you really want to know? So this is what it takes, all right? It takes number one, to really do it good, you have to be clinically insane.
I agree.
You have to be willing to basically put everything else on hold and just go out there and do it. And tens of thousands of hours and hundreds of thousands of dollars in money. That's all right. That's what it really takes.
I'd agree with that.
And
and it's not something that can be learned in overnight. It's not something that can be learned in 5 years. It's not something that can even be learned in 10 years. And you can be a pretty good angler in 5 years. You can be an even better angler in 10 years. But I think the longer you do it, the more you realize just how much you didn't know.
But there's things a lot of people don't know too. So there's a lot of guides on the James River, right? So there's 27 of them. There's a lot. So there's
300 guides on Texoma.
But what I'm saying is the guides on the James River, they have a little inner circle. I used to be part of it, right? And there's 10 of them that talk every single day. Yeah. When they catch a fish, they're calling the other guys or sending it in the group chat.
Do they help each other, or are they just ribbing each other? Are they helping each other?
No, they do. They really do. They work together.
Yeah,
I think there's a group
of a lot of fisheries, the best guides, they really help each other, and that's what helps them be able to really stay on it. They're over here. Now they're over here. And if you got 10 really good anglers willing to share knowledge, because
they're gonna smack them.
I would say, as much as anything, having really high level angler friends that we all are willing to share. I think
and not only that, how I got so good at catching these fish too, it wasn't just me, right? You could put in all the time you want, but I got to fish with, some really good people. I became friends with some really good guides. They showed me a lot, right? I moved to Alabama. Justin Fricky catch a lot of big fish. He taught me everything he knows. I went fish with Adam Cook and all these big names, right? So I got to kind of see a lot of things that most people don't see. And I got bits and pieces from different people. And I could now, even though I don't do exactly let's say what Justin does, because I don't even know how he catches half the fish he catches, because I can't do what he does. But he showed me enough, and where he's been around it for a very, very long time. And So I kind of did my own thing and based it upon, like, I'm not saying I didn't learn anything by myself. I put in tens of thousands of hours.
You
I
just
worked really
practice
hard.
the way you like to do it.
Yeah, you have to find a way.
Fishing is, man. It's like putting your own signature on it. You don't have to, you can learn something from this. I've fished with most of the top guides in Texas over the last 30 years. And, you may learn a little token from this dude and from that dude. And you just kind of piece it all together and do what works for you.
But you still have to figure out what works for you. And one of the biggest things that most people don't understand, like, I fished a bunch of tournaments, not like a lot, but enough. But I can tell you this. Every time I've ever fished a tournament and I was confident and I knew I was going to win, I was coming in to win. I wasn't coming in just, we might catch fish, fishing sucks. When I came in with the attitude, we're going in there, we're going to win this thing, take the money and go home and whatever, go get a steak dinner afterwards. We always did good. Confidence is one of the biggest things you can do in catching big fish, and just really having the confidence that you think you're going to do it, right? Like that mindset, right? Like that's huge. And most people don't realize that. If you're going to say, just be like, oh, fishing stinks. We ain't going to catch much today, but I'm just going to go out there because it's a nice day. You probably ain't going to catch a lot of fish. If you go out there with the mindset that we're going to mess them up, and it puts you in a different mood, like a different mode. And you usually do really well when you do that. Not always. Some days will kick your butt, but
that's it. And
you
see, what I was
got to
getting
know that certain days are going to be not as good as others, and you got to. I mean, I set my expectations pretty much how I think the day's going to be, and for doing it so long, I pretty much know what the bite is. Sometimes it shocks me, and it's a really great day, and I thought it was going to be bad. I've had some of my best days on days that should have sucked.
Oh yeah,
it's been freaking terrible, and we smoked them. But I've also gone out there thinking today we are about to freaking light this lake on fire, and the fish were like, "F you, buddy, not today." So I always tell guys just go, but definitely confidence is probably an angler's number one.
It's huge.
Yeah,
and also.
And you get confidence through success. So as you gain success, you become more confident. And we had somebody this week that was
also another good thing, Chris. When you're out there and you're doing bad, learn from so a lot of people get stuck into the where's this other person fishing? Spot fishing, I call it, right?
That's not.
And if you get stuck in the spot fishing and you're only fishing because this is where somebody else caught fish. So even if it's working, even if you are catching fish every time you're going out to this spot, and all you're doing is catching fish and going home, you ain't learning anything.
Yeah.
Why are you catching those fish at that spot? Ask yourself questions. Every time you go out fishing, you should ask yourself questions and be able to answer them. And you might not be able to answer them right away, but start putting the pieces together. This is how you really figure out a specific body of water. Every single time you catch a fish, why did I catch that fish? Why was he here? Why was he at this depth? Why was it bigger? Ask yourself questions. And it's not going to happen overnight, but if you do that for an entire year, you will be amazed what happens next year.
I think of your worst days, trying to get a little... Instead of giving up and saying, oh, the fish just aren't biting, which a lot of guys just say, it's the fish, they aren't biting. And, over a long haul of doing this, I know that on the exact same freaking day, another one of my buddies kicked some ass. It wasn't a broad thing where everyone kicked ass that day, but he had something different figured out. So I just decided on the days where it really sucked, I'm going to fish harder, way harder on that day to try to figure something out, so that next time when this same scenario I'm presented with, I will have a little something to go off of. And I think that has served me well to be way more successful on the next outing when everybody else is getting their ass kicked that day. They're like, how the F did you do that? I think that, like Steve said, is try to figure something out, even if it's a little tiny little thing. You might find a small pattern on a day where all the other main patterns aren't working, but something tiny is working. And if you can go hone in on that next time, it can serve you well. And the flip side of that is, on a great day, a lot of guys just pack their crap up and leave after their great day. And my buddy's like, man, I'm having a great day.
But they didn't learn anything. Why? It was great.
Thanks for sending me to this spot. I'm like, make sure when you leave, you understand where you've been fishing, and go scan the area with your graph and see and pay attention to all the things and why it's actually working. And I think that also will help you as well.
But if you're having a really bad day too, and you're not tournament fishing, because tournament fishing is completely different. If you're just out there fun fishing, you ain't catching fish. Those are the days. Those are the days to get out there and go way back and do something you normally don't do.
Oh man,
if it's so stupid where you're dragging back in the 6 miles back into a creek in 1 foot of water, go do it. Because you might
do the opposite of what you think they should be doing. I tell guys that, man, nothing's working out here. I said, well, here's where I think they shouldn't be. And I can tell you a lot of times where the fish should not have been. That's exactly where they were. I couldn't find shit. And it's a windy day. They should be here. Water temperature's this. We've had a front, blah, blah, blah. They ain't there. The guy's like, where should I check? I say, go check a protected area out of the wind, up where there's no structure, and see if they're just sitting up there, because you'd be surprised. Sometimes the fish, they don't all follow the same program.
No, and a lot of people, they get stuck on the same program, right? Like they're fishing the same stuff, but they're catching fish on the good days, but they're not catching on the bad days, but they're only fishing the stuff where they catch fish on the good days.
Yeah.
You have to really,
and one of the biggest,
you can catch fish in you catch 80-pound fish in 1 foot of water. Okay, on your transducer, which is about 2 foot. There's 80-pound fish back there. There's 100-pound fish back there. They go back into places that most people, like, you wouldn't even expect, right? Or, I mean, sometimes I've caught fish in 130 foot deep already. Who the heck would fish that? You know what I mean? But they weren't biting, so I was like, I'm going down there, screw it, and caught fish. So you got to be able to be very. You got to have you just got to put everything together, and you have to be able to bump, drag, anchor, drift, do everything, right? Like, now bumping is only a permanent course, but
for most fisheries, there's going to be a predominant pattern for the day, and that pattern, they may not actually be biting on the predominant pattern. You may have to go to pattern B, and occasionally you might have to go to pattern C. Yeah. So what does that mean? Pattern A might be, all right, the biomass is out deep because it's been, this certain type of weather pattern. Well, that's not working. Those fish are shut out. So what's pattern B? Pattern B might be going up in the timber where the crappie might be stuck. And maybe those fish are biting. Maybe those aren't working. All right, well, how about the carp pattern? Those like to be up in about 10 foot of water. So on any given day, one of those patterns might actually be working where everybody else is out fishing the shad pattern, and they think, oh, shad, and those fish don't want to bite. But on that day, maybe they're up there feeding on the carp, and those fish. But
even on bad days, there are fish biting somewhere on that river or lake. They don't just not eat. You put a bait in front of most fish, and they're going to eat.
And that's
sometimes a lot of that boils down to presentation too, Steve. I mean, changing presentation, slowing things down, speeding things up, upsizing, downsizing. There's a lot.
I mean, when we used to go flathead fishing in Pennsylvania, and we used to do really, really well. we'd have 6 different types of live baits with us. 6.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, we had fall fish, suckers, bluegills. I mean, everything you can imagine. And some days, then fish wanted the suckers, or they wanted
Some days they'll eat anything,
suckers.
right? But then certain days they might just
Mhm.
want the
Certain
sucker.
things. Yep.
Yeah.
Or shad, or if you're talking blues, shad, or a lot of people, a lot of people, especially in the spring, they overlook shad when they have skipjack, because skipjack is the best bait usually when it's in the waters. But there are times of the year when you have skipjack filled waters where those fish will actually eat the shad better because of what's going on with the shad.
Right.
Like the shad kill off. There's a bunch of dead shad floating around. What are the fish eating? Right? So
Yeah.
there are times where I feel like you gotta have options, right?
Yeah.
If you just do the same thing over and over, you're gonna get limited results, right?
That's where a lot of people gets that, that lock, man. They doing the same thing over and over. And, that's what makes y'all guys, a great fisherman, because y'all are able to change it up on a fly and stuff like that. You go and try something totally different and end up, it works.
I think you need to be versatile and willing to go maybe outside the fold of what everybody else thinks they should be doing. I've noticed that I fish quite a bit different than most guys. We go on there'll be a big tournament. I'll see all these guys up there fishing certain area, and I know what they're doing. They're thinking, all right, I know this guy and he's up here fishing, so I need to be up here fishing. And I go up there and look on the graph. I'm like, why are these guys up here fishing? I'm gonna go fish the graph. And
that's what separates the boys from the men, Chris. I mean, the great ones from the average ones. And everybody thinks that they're as they say, Bill Dance. But it's you got to be ready to be versatile and learn and go on the fly and do different things from where other people aren't.
William Oliver, the Flathead Legends in the house, says, just caught up the last few minutes and haven't even learned this guest's name, but he's one of the smarter guys I've heard talk about big fish.
So another good thing too is sometimes a lot of people will see these fish, and I've done this in tournaments already. And I've had people go out there and they go fish where we were fishing all week because they knew we were catching 60, 70, 80-pound fish every time. Like we were just hammering them, right? So we go out there in the tournament. It was a night tournament, and there's everybody. They're dragging right where we were dragging because they know that's where we were catching fish. Guess what? We went running past them. This is a true story. We went running right past them up the river and just started dragging because we knew that those fish didn't come off the flats till about midnight.
Yeah.
And they were all up there dragging about 8 o'clock at night. We were sitting there laughing. So we go up the river and we stayed up there for 4 hours. Here come all the boats. They didn't catch anything down there. They all come up there, upriver, followed us up there. We go back down where they just left because now the fish are coming down because there's a pattern going on the Wheeler Lake. Yeah. And we caught freaking 4 fish over 60 pounds in the first 10 minutes, and we went in early and weighed in and smoked everybody. So there's a lot of times where, like, even if you are marking those fish and you see a bunch of fish and you're not catching them, leave. Go do something else. Come back in 6 hours. They might bite them, right? I never seen that before, Chris, right?
Steve, yeah. I've done that lots of times, man. I mean, go to a spot knowing, okay, well, they haven't got here yet. Leave, and that's one of the biggest things.
Even if they're there, they're not biting. I have a lot of guys will say, "Oh, you don't leave fish to go find fish." I'm like, I'm confident I can go find fish. I mean, finding fish is not a problem for me most of the year. I'm willing to leave fish to go find fish that are feeding or a better group.
Yeah, because if you're catching 30-pound fish at the 30-pound fish and you're in the 20 to 40 group, the odds of you catching a 70, it's there, but you're probably not. If you're just sitting there catching one after another, you're probably not going to catch a really big fish if that's what you're trying to do. Right?
But the really big ones, you don't have to go far off of that group. The big ones are typically somewhat fairly close. They're in a high valued real estate area. They don't typically run with all those other ones. They just kind of go sit there lazily and sit in a certain, very certain type of area they like to sit in it. But it's not like they're there all the time. They go there, they sit there, and when it's time to move, they move and go sit in another very high valued real estate type of area.
It just changed, especially the blue cat. The blue cat pattern changes, and it can be good for weeks, and then all of a sudden, boom, gone. And the fish are 20 miles upriver or something, right? And you're like, what the freak is going on? You know? And then you think you figure it out, and you got the whole year planned out, and then the following year comes up, and now you're going to go try to repeat that. But they don't follow the same pattern every year. You have to relearn.
Oh, that's we've talked about that several times. There's a 5-year cycle. There's a year. There's a 1-year cycle. There's a 5-year cycle. There's a 10-year cycle. There's a 100-year cycle. So in that 5 years, that scenario happens one time every 5 years. And in a 10-year cycle, it's one time. So being able to fish that cycle and understand maybe it kicked your ass one time, but by the end of the trip, you had a little something figured out. So next time when you see that's when people say time on the water, it's not minutes on the water. It's putting time over it's the success you put in over a long period of time, because you can't learn everything in a year that happens in a year. You can learn what happened in that year. And then over a 5-year period, things are going to be different because there's so many different variables.
That's why your guys like Mike Mitchell, Donnie, and Lonnie are such good tournament anglers.
Yeah.
I'm saying tournament anglers, right? I'm not saying just they catch fish too, but they're really good tournament anglers. But those guys, they've been fishing 30 plus years. Mike's been guiding a very long time, very competitive person. He's seen it all, right? He's seen every scenario, every bad day he's had. He's got skunk guiding, right? Like he's seen everything. So when he's out there, even if it's a brand new water, he's already been through these scenarios 10,000 times in his life.
Yeah, he just
he doesn't always figure it out because nobody can always figure it out. But
he's got a pretty good idea. All right, they should be here. If they're not here, I check down to A. Okay, I check from A down to B, down to C, down to D. And if you get to pre-fish it, I mean, that's even completely because I mean, Steve, if you got to pre-fish these lakes for 3 days and the weather pattern was the same, how bad would you beat up on some of these tournaments?
It would be pretty good. But that's like, so let me throw this out there. And I'm not talking crap because I like the guys. They're awesome, right? They're really great. But Donnie and Lonnie, if there's a big money tournament coming up, they're there 2 weeks prior.
Yeah.
They put the work in. They bust their butt. They're out there fishing every day. If there's like a big, $100,000 tournament or something, they're there 2 weeks prior, fishing every day, busting their butt, putting in the work, and they do it for all the king cats and everything else. That's why their success is so high. But they put the work. They literally put the work in, right?
Yeah. I can literally tell you, I fished against Donnie and Lonnie in some of the king cat tournaments, and them boys would leave one lake that's coming up the next week. Leave that lake to come to fish this lake. They already studying it. And them boys, I'm going to tell you, man, if you can beat them boys, you've done something. They put in that work.
Yeah. But I mean, they're also not going to get on them every single time. You know what I mean? Like I've beat them in tournaments and Mike too, but they beat me too. But the chances are though, if you fish a whole series against those guys like that, you're probably gonna get your butt whooped.
They will sometimes make you very humble.
Especially those national trails where you travel, because you can't just be able to fish one body of water. You have to know catfishing in an entirety. You know what I mean? So they might not win every tournament, but they're gonna place in the top 10 every single where they go, even if they've never been there most likely. And at the end of the year, the points are going to be like this, right?
That's it.
But they put work.
Them boys, that's all they do, man. They study and they work hard at what they do, and they're successful in a lot of times.
Yeah.
They put in the time over a long haul.
And that's what makes great fishermen, man. I mean, you got to be willing to put in that time on the water and just study and just take notes, weather, water, temperature. I mean, you got to put it all together.
I think going around it, hey, buddy.
Freaking raging. Then you got the Ray Fergusons who can't catch a fish on any lake. He's listening. That's why I'm talking crap. I know he's listening. Oh, boy.
See, that's why I asked you, man, because, I know you have done your homework. You put in that effort. And, there's a lot of guys I see get frustrated, like, man, damn, I just can't. And you got to slow down and say, okay, take it one step at a time, man. You can't get frustrated, let it get you down, because you got to have this much time. You got to study them. It's not just show up, fish, and say, man, what am I doing wrong? I mean, you got to put it all together to make a great fisherman. And it takes a lot of years to do it.
No doubt. Time on the water. And if you really want to dial them in, you need to be out there doing it consistently. In good weather, bad weather, you got to be able to figure out how to do it on the worst days.
And you got to move around. You got to go to places, different types of bodies of water, because you'll learn things, right? Like if you fish the same river, you're going to learn that river, but you ain't got to learn too much. You know what I mean? But if you could just take a trip to the Mississippi River, that's completely different. Take a trip down to the big lakes in Texas. Go to Santee, go to, Kerr, go to these places and just go get your butt whooped. It's going to happen, but go do it.
Oh, yeah. But, Steve, it's more along the lines of go figure it out.
Yep.
If you're going to go do that, you're going to have to go figure it out. What's the bailing patterns for the day, for the scenario and situation that you're in?
I'm a very stubborn person, so if I don't have a fish over 60 pounds in the deck, I usually stay out until I get one, and sometimes I'll be out there for like 30 hours. Which is like, why am I still awake? I don't even have a drink for 20 hours, and I'm still out here. This is stupid, and I'm still there. But I did a lot of dumb stuff.
That's what makes great fishermen, man.
I always say how much or how little time I spend on the water is one thing that I can control. He's got the Oklahoma State record, so
no.
Coming for your record, buddy, but it's probably going to be my son that reels it in. So probably won't get it, but we're going to try.
What's that record?
It's like 94 or 95. It's out of Texoma, but come off the Oklahoma side. It's been a while. I don't. When did you catch the 98? He got a 98. It come up out of Tishomingo. I think it come out of the Tishomingo Preserve or whatever. I could be wrong. He might have been up there at the Red River Inlet. That's where I mark most of the biggest fish. It's right up there at the inlet.
That was back in
2004. There you go. That was pretty much, that's real close to when Cody caught his 123. So I bet there's a few in there that are still probably close to that size, but the amount of juggers that hit that inlet and kill those big fish, it's gotten crazy, man. I wish that the Parks Department would take a little stroll through up there in the springtime just to see how many freaking jugs are up there so we could get something done about it. But let's not get off on that.
Yeah, that can go into a whole different show there, Chris.
I may or may not have picked a whole bunch of jugs and trot lines out the water out here, like all the time. Especially
Yeah.
if not.
Dude, I was up
That's
at the
it.
end about 6 weeks ago, and it was close to 2,000 jugs. It was insane.
Man, I was dragging a wheeler one day, and all of a sudden, all 8 of my rods just got hung up. I'm like, what the freak is going on? Because there's not much here. I realize it's a freaking net, right? So I go around, and there's like this tiny little black float sticking up on a piece of string. It was small, right? So I pick it up. I was like, man, there's a net. So I look at it. It's not marked. They legally have to be marked here. Jug lines don't, but trot lines do. So I was like, screw this. He just cost me like $50. I'm freaking pulling this thing. I start pulling this trot line. I'm telling you, it was over a quarter mile long. It probably had 5,000 hooks on it. My fingers were bleeding. I picked so many fish off this thing. And
That's
most of them little. But
crazy.
I was pissed now because, first of all, he laid it right on the ledge, and it was way too freaking long with way too many hooks, and it wasn't
It wasn't legal
bad.
in the first place, but
Yeah, so I picked them
those
off.
guys don't care about legal anyway.
It took me like 2 hours. Well, anyway, I go up and I'm fishing, and here comes this old guy on this big old flat bottom John boat, like 26-foot monster freaking flat bottom boat. And they go over and they're picking a trot line over across the river. And here they come. They're looking for that black float I just picked like an hour ago. And I seen him down there, and I roll by him on my boat real slow. And he's looking at me. And I was like, I got you. And they didn't say anything. I was so mad. I was ready to jump on their boat, I did. That was funny.
Caller says, what bait, what time, where are they, what depth, weather, every body of water is different, lots of variables. I would agree. When you change bodies of water, they're generally going to be different than the body of water maybe that you're used to. But I will say this, I can pretty much go to most fisheries and do well. But also when I go there, the very first thing I look for is a bait pattern. What's the predominant bait pattern? What's the magic depth for the day? And if you're able to do that, you can pretty much go to most lakes. It doesn't matter the pattern. It does matter the pattern, because you do need to have a broad knowledge of what carp do, what crappie do, what striper or white bass do. But I think once you know basic fish behavior, you can figure out bait patterns on each lake, and you can move around and have success.
Sometimes I feel like I do better on brand new water.
Yeah,
because I might be looking at, because a lot of people on the specific body of water that fish it all the time, they're really stuck on these spots, right? They're stuck on these areas and spots. When I come in, I'm looking at things they might just not be looking at. Like, I know, like, I showed up to Gunnersville my first time. There's big fish in Gunnersville, right? I anchored up within 10 minutes in my first spot ever in Gunnersville. Nobody told me anything. I just went up there, sat on a ledge, boom, 90-pound fish. First fish ever in Gunnersville, in the first 10 minutes. Like, there's a lot of luck, but I'm not going to lie. But, I tend to do pretty good on new bodies of water. I think so, because I'm bringing knowledge that I learned over the years to that body of water, and I'm not just fishing other people's spots, right? And that's
what they say about like these Bassmaster guys that will come to a new lake and break the lake record in the lake. The record's 20 years old, but they come with the fresh way of approaching it. They're fishing water that everybody else maybe never fished, and maybe they're hitting fish that hadn't seen all the hooks that are in a certain area of the lake. Because catfish are smart, and I do know a lot of the really big fish I've caught, I could see they've been caught before, and it might have been a while ago because they got huge scars or missing eyeball. If the fish is missing an eyeball, he probably got caught. And he wasn't a giant fish when he got caught. But I will say, I think that they are intelligent. They do start to figure out things and really.
I mean, I've seen these fish actually. I'll learn the bait pattern out here, and I'll watch these fish, and there'll be no fish up on this flat, no catfish, right? Be like 4 a.m. The catfish are up there now at 4 a.m. The bait ain't up there till 5 a.m. Those fish actually move to the flat knowing that those bait are coming up there in whatever, an hour or so.
Yeah.
They know that.
Yeah,
and I'd go up there before that bait comes and smash them. We caught a 104 and 80, like 560s and 650s off this one flat, knowing that those fish were up there before the bait was coming. And we went up there, and that was the best night we ever had, right? So they do, like, if you really pay attention, those fish are pretty dang smart. They do things for sure that most people would be like, you're freaking crazy. But I've had these conversations with some of the top guys in the country already, and they've all said the same thing. I mean, ask Tim; he'll tell you. It's pretty wild, especially the bigger they are. Because the bigger they are, they don't get that big because they're dumb.
Yeah, they typically move ahead of the weather pattern, ahead of the bait pattern.
Yeah, the big ones definitely go first.
The bigger ones, the bigger they are, the fat. The more they know the weather's coming before the weather hits, and they start moving into the area beforehand, or the bait pattern before it moves up, like you said, out of the.
Well, I mean, that's like in Japan, the big catfish that causes earthquakes. You ever watch that episode?
No.
On River Monsters? Well, the catfish, every time an earthquake was about to hit, it would activate the catfish. And this has been going on for hundreds of years. So all the catfish would come up, and there's pretty big catfish over there, and they'd catch a whole bunch of catfish right before an earthquake came. So the theory in Japan was that they had these giant catfish, because you know how like Japan is, and with their myths and stuff. These giant catfish caused these earthquakes. But the catfish knew the earthquakes were coming. And it activated these fish, and they started to feed, and then they go disappear for a little. They knew, like, it's proven, so they definitely can sense a lot of things that, we can't, you know what I mean? Especially weather.
Yeah. That's normally before a big storm. You notice, you start catching the fish like crazy. These fish ain't stupid. They know it.
I mean, the best day of flathead fishing I ever had, I caught over 50 flatheads on the Susquehanna, and a lot of them were over 40 pounds. And I was in the middle of a freaking tropical storm with my bilge pumps running, me bucketing water out of my boat. It was raining that hard. And I'm an idiot out there. But they won't stop biting it. I ran out of bait, It was pretty wild. That was fun.
Paul Dillon Anderson says, Jamie, appreciate your support for the Bill Journey tournament. Steve, you won second place. Congrats. Shoot him a message when you get a chance.
Yeah, I got his message. I'm just on here. I'll get him.
Kyle Watts says, new water, you don't get tunnel vision. Yes, new water, it makes you just think, forget, like Steve said, the spot fishing, and just go with it's you have to just use the algorithm. Okay, fish should be here. Here's the bait pattern, where the bait pattern should be, and then go on the water and see if that is the actual case. And I have an idea where I think the fish are going to be, but as soon as I hit the water, I'm looking for today's predominant depth, the magic depth for the day of the pattern that I expect to fish. If that pattern doesn't produce, I'm looking to move to pattern B, and that could be completely different species of fish they're feeding on than pattern A. So,
but there's even days too where I'll go out and I'm like, I'm going to try something new. I don't even care. I'm going to go drag this flat. I'm going to go drag this whole section. I'm just going to go do it just to see what happens, right? And I like to do my research while I'm dragging because I'm learning multiple things at once. One, I can look at my fish pond. You got to slow down your shark speed a little bit because you're barely moving. I can look at the river, and I can tell you right now, you are going to mark fish better on the trolling motor than you are with the big motor running, period.
Yeah.
That's 100%. And then if I see fish, I already have baits in the water, and I can see if that area is producing, if it has fish, and if they're biting. I'm learning a whole lot by just going to drag new areas. And maybe there ain't fish there, but I'll drag it for 4 hours down this whole strip just to R&D, I guess you could call it, right? Like I'm just looking, but I'm looking with baits in the water, not just scanning. And you can't do this on like tournament days, but I'm saying if you're at home on your own body of water, just go look and put baits in the water and drag it, right? And move around a little bit. You might be surprised. I have a couple areas out here on Wheeler where I know I can go out and catch a 50, 60-pound fish, if not bigger, 8 out of 10 times. You know what I mean? Just because I literally found that area, I just drug it, right? And
Steve, I get asked this question. I get asked this question all the time. Do you learn more when you anchor fish, or do you learn more when you're dragging?
You learn more dragging because you can see what's going on, but I feel like anchor fishing takes a lot more skill. There's no doubt. It definitely does because you have to. So I feel like anchor fishing, like on the Susquehanna, for instance, we fish heavy structure, and I feel like you get in position on those fish is very hard, right? And you're talking a matter of you're off 40 feet, you might only catch one fish to 10, right? So you have to really learn how to anchor your boat, mark those fish, but anchor your boat. And you have to take into consideration the current, the depth, how much rope you're letting out. If there's any wind, are you drifting on that anchor rope? Are you drifting over? So one of the best guys I know is the one who helped me probably more than anybody was trying to learn how to anchor specifically. Like if you're in 60 foot of water and you pull up 80 foot on those fish and throw the anchor, by the time that anchor catches and you're sitting on them, you're already over top of those fish.
Yeah.
If you're in 10 foot of water, you pull up 120 foot and throw the anchor, you might be 100 foot from those fish. But I typically try to, and then not only that, you got to remember too, if you're in 10 foot of water, I try to position myself about 80 foot behind those fish, 70 foot. But if I'm in 60 foot of water, trying to position that boat 70 to 80 foot behind those fish or in front of those fish is very difficult, right? But not only that, now you also have to factor in your line. In 60 foot of water with a little bit of current at 60 or 70, 80 foot above those fish, my line's going to be way over that fish by the time it hits the bottom. So I might have to position myself 120 foot in front of those fish, but actually start anchoring at 180. There's a lot of variables that come in with anchor fishing. To be precision anchoring is the best thing you can do to catch good fish. And it takes years to really learn it because there's so many variables. Current, speed, depth. I mean, it's very difficult, right?
And that's true because I've got a rope on my boat that's probably almost 2 football fields long. I do that for a reason because I might have to adjust. Let more line back out to actually get my distance where it should be, just like what you're talking about.
But there's just so many variables, even with your line going in the water. At 60 foot, your line's going to keep going back. The current's going to pull it. So it's going to be if you cast it 60 foot back. That line's going to be 150 foot back by the time it hits the ground, right? Yeah. And there's just so many variables. And a lot of times you're talking a matter of 30 foot can make a world of a difference, right? So it's very difficult to do, right? Like consistent when you're fishing at different places, But that's like the number one thing for anchor fishing is actually getting the baits on the fish, right? Because if you say a flathead, for instance, if you throw a bait in front of a flathead and it's within 5 feet of him, even if he's not hungry, he's eating, he's territorial, he wants to kill it, you don't want it there. So you will catch that fish. But if you throw it 20 foot behind him, even maybe 15, 10, you probably ain't gonna catch him if he's sitting behind the structure. Because he's just sitting there waiting. So it's kind
William Oliver will tell you 6 inches will make all the difference between catching the 50-pounder and not even getting a nibble. John Wayne Caller says, I agree, new places make you get out of the same normal routine. It makes you fish. I would agree, John.
And Chris,
sometimes you just got to go out there and forget about all the other crap and just go figure them out.
As someone stated, you get tunnel vision. You can easily get tunnel vision because you do really good with most of the time.
I'll tell you straight up, even on local waters where I fish all the time, I mean, I could fish it every weekend. I'm always going to new places. I'm always trying new things. You'll never see me go to the exact same hole week after week.
I tell guys the same thing. You will rarely ever see me fish the same area 2 weeks in a row. Even if it's the same lake, it's going to be generally. I don't fish an area. I fish where the fish. Guys are where are you going to go? I'm like, I'm going to go where the fish are at.
Yeah.
I got an idea where they should be. It doesn't matter what lake I'm on. I'm going to have a pretty good idea where I think they should be. And about 90% of the time, they're going to be in A, B, or C. And the other 10%, I just got to go figure something out. And it might be one of those days where I just got to go where I don't think they're going to be. But, when you've been doing it a long freaking time, you got a pretty good feeling of where they should be. And then, if they're not, that's the day it's going to be, might be a learning day. Or I tell guys, get ready because we're about to freaking get on this graph until we figure something out.
And just like we were talking earlier, just knowing the times that these fish are going to be either in that B spot or that A spot.
They might be in section A at noon. They not going to be there at 7:30 a.m. when you hit that spot. And knowing that's a big part of it, JB. Knowing fish behavior, where they like to migrate to throughout the day. They generally don't leave a section unless there's a big change in weather pattern, something like that. They generally stay in a section, and it's all right. How do I break this section down to where they're going to be for the time I'm fishing? You don't have to. If you're running around all over, you're generally screwed. I'm guilty of it. I've done it, and it generally doesn't work.
I did it the other week. I burned almost 90 gallons of gas running all over the lake. You know what happened? I went back out there in front of the boat ramp and drug this 6 foot of water right in front of the boat ramp. I caught a 40 and a 60. I said, mother truck.
Usually work. I will freaking run all over the lake and go right back to work. And as I'm pulling in, I'm like, right here at the ramp.
Steve, Chris, y'all know, man. I've done that several times. When you turn right back and come right back to that boat landing. I've won some tournaments sitting at a boat landing while everybody else just keep going,
I know. We went to the James River. We went to the James River the one time, and my buddy, he wanted to catch a big, like 60+ pound fish. I was like, all right, I've been tearing them up this week. Come on. So we go down there, and the James, out of all rivers I've ever fished, the James has a light switch on it that will totally shut off. I mean, those fish will just stop. Right? Yep. And so we fished all over. We're out there for like 18 hours. Well, the one rod went down, and I caught like a freaking 60. I was like, shoot, that was your fish, but now we can't catch another one all day, right? We drove the whole river all the way from Richmond all the way down past the Chick. We fished the whole river, and we were getting tired. We were up for like 24 hours, and we pulled up in front of the boat ramp right there and fished some stupid bridge at Hopewell. I mean, you can catch a big fish. That rod just dumped, and he was sleeping. I'm like, wake up, big fish. I'm over there real down on it. He wakes up. You stole my fish again. I'm like, get this freaking thing. And we caught a freaking 60 right there. And I ran around all day, and I was like, so mad.
Yeah, it will definitely piss you off, man, when that happens for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man. Talking tournaments, your partner can play a big part of how well you do. You can just click with some people and others, you just don't, and things don't generally go well. That's true, man. I know. I have Rebecca. Me and her, we do everything. We know what each other's moves is. We fish darn good together at tournaments. I've got one other guy I fish with. We click. It's like we know our next move. So that's very true words, man. Your
No
partner
doubt.
can make you or break you in a tournament.
I fish with a lot of different anglers and a lot of really, really top level anglers. And sometimes, man, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work because they fish a little different style than the way I fish. And I fish what I like to call it's the chaos catfishing. It's a very chaotic way of fishing. You get a little few things out of jive, man. It's freaking not good, bro.
that is for sure, man. I've seen where I've wanted to throw people over the boat before. It was like, man,
I've been fishing with Wes Cooks. He's a very high level guide here in Texas. Man, we jive great. I don't have to say this is what it just flows seamlessly. We think alike when we're looking for fish, when we're setting up on fish, when we're putting everything out. It's not a running into each other and getting out of rhythm type of deal, because a lot of this fishing it's rhythm. It's staying in the groove. You get out of the groove, it's totally.
Yeah, and if you're actually tournament fishing, I mean, you're on a time limit, right? You have a specific set time. It's usually 8-9 hours, and that's not a lot of time. So whoever's on your boat, if they're taking 5 minutes to put their side of boards out and backlash and everything, they're gone. I'm sorry.
That's it. Sometimes I'll be truthful with you. Sometimes it's best to say, hey man, let me just get all this stuff out real fast.
Yeah, just let me do it. That's it. But yeah, having that person. So having a person on your boat that knows what they're doing in tournaments is huge. But also having somebody on there where you both can work together and have, even if you have different fishing styles, that you can listen to each other and not just go off of what I'm saying because it's my boat, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people do that. Like I fish with people that are these super tournament anglers, and I'm like, hey, dude, the fish are over here. Well, I don't see them on the ground. I'm telling you, I fish this lake all the time, probably more than anybody. The fish are right here. And he won't listen, And I was like, all right, here's one. And we wound up middle of the pack, and we could have probably won that one, but whatever.
And I'll be honest with you, sometimes it's best, when you do go on someone else's boat, sometimes it's best to just kind of sit back and, like we were just saying, let them kind of just take over. I mean, not making you not a good angler or nothing like that. Just sometimes let whoever's boat it is, let them just get the stuff out, and it'll go a lot smoother sometimes.
I get that. Sometimes it is about timing and getting everything out.
Yeah.
It's really hard to have two captains on one boat. There you go.
Yeah. I will say this. I have fished with my buddy Wes Cooks. He's a guide, and we fished with Trent Hall one day. And typically, when you got guys that are good, that are pretty good at doing it, when you put them all together, everything works. When you got high level guys, what I think the problem is when you got guys that are kind of middle of the road and they think I'm gonna come over here and help you get all this stuff out real quick, and they don't understand it's especially planer boarding, it's timing. It's how you get this stuff out. Yeah, you want to get it out fast, but there is a certain timing. You got to get it all out before you get it all freaking tangled up before it's even out. And I think,
I had like the guy that I fish with in a lot of tournaments, he's been tournament catfishing for 20 years, right? And so when he comes on my boat, he knows what I do, right? And I'm really anal about how I put boards out or how much line I let out or how long my leaders are. I do everything the exact same way. And he knows that, right? So he jumps on my boat and he can do everything. Or like if we're bumping or something, we've done it together many times. And every time me and him fish together, we usually wind up in the top 3, you know? And we just jive together, and we'll usually work out a plan before we even go because we've already looked at the lake or we fish here all the time. So we'll be like, all right, well, this is our plan and we're going to live or die by it. This is what we're going to do. We already know what we're going to do and we just go do it, and it usually works out. But I mean, a lot of times too, like I feel like people they're not catching fish and not giving enough time. And then they start doing the running game, right? Like Chris said, if you start doing the running game and you're going all up and down that river, you're in trouble. Especially in a tournament, you're in trouble.
That's it. And something a lot of people forget is Chris's boat might set up a lot different than your boat, Steve, or my boat. In different boats, they set up totally different a lot of times. So your boat might, the boards might be better on the right side, flow out better on the right side or on the left side. So, that's why I've always
tell you this. Me and Steve would fish great together. Me and Jamie would fish great together. I have 100% confidence in that. The majority of my really high level angling buddies, we fish good together. For me, the biggest issue is because I have a ton of guys on the boat. It's like different people damn near every week now. And it's the guys that are kind of, maybe got 5 years experience. Those are the guys that create the biggest issues. They don't realize how to run the planer boards out efficiently. And two is when these kids are, look, y'all hear this singing?
I was about to say, damn, Chris, you're popper, brother.
My son with his buddies. It's kidness. I'm gonna have to go inside here in a second and tell him this has got to end.
And it's just,
a lot of the mid-grade guys that come on the boat that think that they know what they want to do, and they just they got a good heart. They want to help, but there's levels to this, and mid-grade guys tend to create a lot more issues on my boat. I have to eventually say, just please let me do it all.
I mean,
do y'all want to fish or do y'all want to catch fish? Because
99% of the people that come on my boat sit down, wait for the rod. Yeah. That's all. Reel them in. You don't got to do nothing. I got it. Right?
People that come on my boat as well. My guy buddies, they know what's up. So and we work seamlessly when we fish together. So the Matt Mosleys, the Trent Halls, and the best cooks of the world that come on my boat, we fish great together.
And when you're fishing a tournament, all right, I'm telling the world this because this irks me. When you fish a tournament, do not worry about what everybody else is doing where they're fishing, and do not set up in front of me when I'm freaking fishing. Do not.
I typically, if I see a bunch of dudes fishing, doing something, I'm like, I'm doing something different.
And here's another thing. If you see someone fishing over here, let's say whatever, they're fishing this section of the lake and they win. And the next tournament you race them there because that's where they're going, you're a dick. Just don't do that.
That's it.
I agree.
I like
find your own damn fish.
I have in my mind where I think the fish are going to be, Steve. I go there.
If everybody did their own thing, these tournaments would run so smooth. Everybody's so worried about there's people out there with binoculars watching where people are fishing. Get out of here. It's a tournament. Go find fish. The lake is huge.
Or they're putting air tags on your boat or something.
Yeah. I mean,
I've got a quick question here in chat that Kyle was asking. If y'all are fishing a lake with no current, do y'all drift with the wind or use the trolling motor to go against the wind? everyone has their preference. What's your preference and why?
I don't think it really matters. As long as the boards are spread.
Damn, these kids. I'm about to go
If-
inside. But
If the boards are spread proper, it doesn't matter if you're going upriver, across river, down river. But I can tell you this. Well, in a lake, there's no current. But even in a river where there's a little bit of current, sometimes I ain't catching going upriver. And, I'll go across. And then I start catching fish. I'll go across the current, and now I'm catching fish when I wasn't catching them up. Like sometimes it don't really matter. I typically tend to go into the wind or go into the current, but I have a monster boat, right? So I'm like a big sail out there. I have like 86-inch drip socks I got to throw out if there's even a 3-mile-an-hour wind coming up river. You know what I mean? So
that's it.
I typically do whatever it takes to have the boards spread proper, right? And whether it's going into the wind, down current, across, whatever it takes, right? But if you're dragging, you just want a good spread, right? And if one side's a little jacked up, where they're kind of pulling in a line and the other side super spread, those lines are still dragging at an angle back behind those boards straight, spread apart evenly for the most part, even though it don't look like it, right? And you can tell that by your long rods coming out the back, the angle of those, Yeah. So
I think I froze on you some there, brother, but go ahead. What you were saying?
Yeah, I was just talking about the dragon there, And like I said, it don't
Which
really.
way do you find it? I mean, easier to which way do you find it easier to deploy your boards? I mean, what would you
into the current,
the people
into the current or into the wind
way?
typically? Yeah, into the wind or current typically. I know some people that go down. I typically don't do that. Sometimes I do, but it depends on the day and the wind. But like I said, I have a challenge that most people don't have. My boat is huge, and it just catches wind. It's hard.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I think Chris, I think I'm freezing up a lot, brother. Trying to chat here. If y'all see me.
You're still on there.
What's the?
Let me look at the chat here.
Brad was asking, what's the most boards would you feel comfortable using at one time?
It depends on the conditions. Is number one. Depends how the fish are biting. Typically, I only run 6. Sometimes I'll run 8 rods throughout the back. So I'll run 6 boards. I mean, I've fished already out there with 14 rods dragging. But we had a little current. There's 0 wind. The conditions were perfect. I absolutely hated doing it. But if you're by yourself, you don't want to fish with 18 rods. Trust me, because your arms will be dead tired when you gotta reel them up.
I think 10 is my max when I'm by myself.
I usually only go 6, sometimes 8. That's it.
I usually run 10 most days.
Yeah.
This is crazy. I don't know what's going on.
I just don't like reeling them in by myself.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Because I'll run those far board. My far boards will be out like 300 feet. They are in like no man's land.
That's it. Especially when it's 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning, man. When you're tired, you're like, damn, I just cut the line.
There's times I'll go fishing out there, and I'm like, I've been dragging for 2 hours here. I'm not catching no fish, but it's 4 in the morning. I probably don't even got baits left on my freaking hooks, but it don't matter. I ain't gonna stop. I'm trying to keep going because I'm too lazy to freaking pull it all up. I'm tired now.
That's it, man. I've done that. I don't know how many times. Like, damn, there's a lot of line out there.
I can't tell you how many times I reeled everything in. And I was like, Well, that one's lips, that one's lips, that one's lips. Whoops, because it was like 4 in the morning. I was too tired to check them.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, a lot of people saying 10 rod solo. Depends on how many jugs you got to dodge. That's for sure.
4-digit fishing, he's got it figured out. He says, as a bank angler, when I get on someone's boat, it's just sit myself down and stay out of the way until they tell me what to do. I wish that all anglers were that way. There are a few that I fish with that I feel very confident with them handling any part of the boat. But typically speaking, when you're really putting everything out, there is some flow to it. If you get out of the flow, it can really screw up things and take a lot longer.
There's a couple tournament anglers down here. I'm not going to name names, but they're well known, right? And I'll go fish with them on their boats. Guess what they do? They grab their beer, sit in the passenger seat, and said, "Here you go. You got my boat for the day. Let's go catch some fish." I'm like, "All right, let's go." But hey, I didn't have to go catch bait or pay for gas, so I'm happy.
That's it. That's it. How often do y'all check your baits when dragging?
How often do we what?
Check your bait when you're dragging.
There's a lot of variables there, right? There's too many. One is weather. If the water's warm, you got to check them way more. If it's cold, you can drag them for a while. Have I been getting pecked to death the last 5 minutes? Am I even tired? I might be 4 in the morning. I don't want to check them, but yeah, it just depends. I mean, you should, if you're fishing tournaments, you typically want to make sure there's baits on there, because a lot of times when you are dragging, the smaller fish will peck at them, and you'll pull back just the lips, or you won't even have bait on some of them. So if you're pulling a bare hook, you ain't going to catch a fish on it. So I mean, you want to catch them.
A lot of it depends on what bait you're pulling.
Yeah, I mean, so I pull
that can't be chewed off. You can be confident when you get it. Somewhat of a. When you say a hit or, somewhat of a takedown, the bait's still going to be there.
Yeah.
If you're using shad, you better reel some bitch in every time and check it.
Or if you got chunks on there, those get ripped off fast. But I typically take a skipjack, like the big ones, and I cut them straight in half, and I hook them up under their chin there through the little slit and up to the top. So I've had them get ripped off before, but they were by monster takedowns, like monster takedowns. Typically, those heads do not come off, right? And I'll take a whole skipjack, cut it in half or 3/4, and I'll put that hook through it, and that's all I drag. Like, that's it. I drag giant baits. I mean, I still catch little fish on them. They'll peck them to death till they get to the hook, but I ain't out there trying to catch even 40-pound fish. I typically, when I'm going out to fish, I want to fish over 60 pounds every time. That's just that's what I do. That's what I'm trying to do, right? So, I mean, it depends, like you said. And if it's cold, those baits tend to last a lot longer in the water than if it's warm. Is it frozen bait? Because if it's frozen bait and you're using chunks, that don't stay on the hook worth a damn. Like, you definitely got to check.
I don't use frozen baits.
Yeah. I mean, but a lot of people do, right? So it's just one of those things.
One of the things I'm very anal about, definitely when I'm fishing a tournament, one of the things I'm always checking and putting fresh bait on all the time. And I'll probably check it 2 times, 3 times more than I would just on a normal trip.
So when I'm using my giant baits, I typically got somebody on the boat every week, and we'll catch a big fish, and they'll say, "Should we put a new bait on?" And I'm like, "We just caught a giant fish. Why would you put a new bait on? Throw that sumbitch back out there." And 5 minutes later, it's got another big fish on. So there's something to staying with what's working. So certain baits, hell, I'll use certain baits. Hell, I'll run the thing all day and catch 10 big fish off one freaking bait. It does depend on what style of bait you're doing. And I think it makes a big difference on dragging and anchoring. If you're dragging, I believe the fish aren't necessarily attracted to the scent trail as much as they are the action of the bait that you're dragging. It's the presentation. You're bringing it to them. They're not out on a roam. When I'm fishing for big fish, I'm bringing it. I'm trying to hit certain types of structure where I believe big fish are laying in wait. And I think when you present a bait that's natural, it looks like it's injured. They tend to be willing to hit that more than a chunk that's just got some juice flowing out of it. I don't know. I've had way more luck staying with that giant bait that I've caught big fish on the entire day than I would be taking that thing off and putting on a different one.
I mean, and this time of year, the fish are pretty fired up. So like big baits are good, right? Like even for small fish, like I fished a tournament out here in April 2 years ago, and we couldn't catch a fish all day. Like we could. Everybody was out there struggling. All we did was switch to literally entire skipjacks, like huge ones, like 16 to 18-inch skipjack, full tail, everything. I'm telling you, we've caught like 20, 30-pound fish in like the first hour of switching over to that, and they just didn't, they wanted giant freaking baits. And there's just certain times of the year when they're feeding up before spawn, or, certain times after spawn.
Like that in the winter, Steve, when they really, whenever the bigger fish become, I'd say game fish type fish become lethargic, bigger fish go after that more than a little bait. Like they see that thing just kind of sitting there lethargic and it's an easy meal for. I tend to catch way more big fish when they're doing that.
Yeah. But even like I'll throw out a 2-3 pound skipjack pole with one hook in it. That's it. Like I hate those double hook rigs. I hate them. I hate them with a passion. I don't use them.
I use them a lot, but you got to hook them a certain way.
Now I feel like they get hooked on too. You get snagged a lot on them. It's just my personal preference, and here's the main reason why. The fish that are grabbing that second hook, I don't want them. If a fish is big enough to eat that huge bait, he's gonna eat that whole bait. Like I'm saying, if it's like a 70, 80, 90, 100-pound fish, he's getting that hook.
Here's one thing that happens a certain time of year for us. In the winter, when fish become really lethargic, our big fish will come up and do what I call an injury bite. So you could have a bait that's 2 pounds, right? I'm using a 2-pound, 10, 12-inch bait. And the fish sees that thing coming by, moving real lethargic. And what he'll do is he'll come up and bite the back half of it. He could swallow it whole if he wanted to. But the nature of that way that fish bites is he comes up and just crushes the back side of the back half of that thing and clamps down. And he doesn't really do anything after he hits that thing. He just crushes the crap out of that thing and hangs on to it. And to me, that when they do that injury bite, which here in Texas in the winters, very frequent.
They do a lot. Flatheads are known for that too, right?
They just crush that thing, and guys like, man, I didn't catch shit today. I'm like, because they don't know how to crank down on it. But
typically
when I'm getting that type of bite on a whole bait where they do an injury bite, okay, I'll be using, let's say I'm up at Texoma and I'm using a whole striper or a half a striper. Well, when that bait comes back and the eyeballs are blown out of the freaking sockets, I know that ain't a small fish because it requires a giant fish to be able to hit something that hard where it explodes the eyes out of the socket. So over time, it just, that stinger hook will catch those fish that do that injury.
Now, if we're fishing in a tournament, I'll run them sometimes because I want to get them all. You want to get every fish you can.
I don't catch all fish on that stinger hook very often.
Oh, I've caught them too, but like Alabama's weird, right? Like it really is. Like I've explained this to Randy and JBN when they came down. You know, we caught an 80 and 70 and a couple 60s. And you know, a lot of the year, these Alabama fish, I don't know why. I'm serious. You can ask anybody that fish here. Certain times here, they're just mean. They're extra mean. Like they are. They're pissed off. They will try to break your wrist. They're gonna bite you. They are really mean for a very long time of the year. So I don't know what it is down here.
Don't they typically bite a little different on each lake you fish?
They do. They're just really aggressive here, right? Yeah. Like especially the big ones. So and a lot of times, like on Wheeler Lake, a lot of the big fish are actually males, right? Which you don't see a lot of big male fish. But if you go down to Wilson, they're all females, right? Like they're big fat ones with a little head.
All our biggest fish are males.
Yeah.
All of them. I mean, it's rare you catch a giant female over about 55, 60 pounds.
But there was like
fish are males.
Yeah, there was times down here, you know, where we caught fish that were 60 inches long and they only weighed 59 pounds. But their heads were like this freaking big.
Man, they're long and
skinny. Wheeler's known for long, skinny males with big old mouths they can stick your head in. And those fish just, I mean, they will slam a bait harder than you've ever seen, you know, like everyone's like, oh, blues don't fight. Well, come hook into an 80-pound male down here and you'll see they fight, you know.
That's how they are in Texoma. They'll bite. They'll freaking try to break your hand off in their mouth.
Oh, yeah. They just get mean.
The big ones. Most of our other lakes, when you catch a really good-sized fish, they just kind of let you handle them, and they're all nice, and they don't flop around in the – man, you catch one up at Texoma, even a 25-pounder stay down on the bottom, you're like, damn, that's a good one. And you get it to the boat, you're like, damn, that thing's 25 pounds. I thought that was going to be a good one. But, yeah, they fight different for each fishery. And I think, like I tell guys at Texoma, they fight damn near like a river fish up there.
I mean, I was up in the Elk River, it's called, just off Wheeler the other day, and I had a board. I mean, this thing went back like 100 miles an hour, and I mean, he was just rip and drag. I was like, oh man, there we go. This could be like an 80 or 90 probably, or not better. And, you know, I got him to the boat and I was like, that's a good fish, but I put him in the net and he was only like 60 pounds, right? And I swore that fish was going to be at least 20 pounds bigger than that. He was just freaking mad, right? Like, and it was shallow water too. So the shallow water changes the game. That's fun. Oh, yeah. You know, if you've never caught like a 70, 80, 90-pound blue cat in like 2-3 foot of water, go fish a place in the springtime where they have big catfish in shallow water and give it a try, because you're going to have a whole new respect for catfishing when that day comes. It's a lot of fun, right?
That's it.
It's cool when you hear them or see them before you see the rod go down.
Yeah, you do. And I've already had them back in this back like huge cove in the back that's really shallow, and you'll see the water swoosh, like, because it's only a couple, like 3 foot, 2 foot. You'll see the water right over there by where you cast it. Just you'll see a big thing, and boom, you'll actually see that fish attack that bait coming for it when he gets it in that shallow water. And then when they do bite, they can't go up or down. They can only go left or right. They're going across all your lines. We've literally had them jumping out of the water.
Oh, yeah.
They look like sharks and jumping into the boat. I mean, Justin had one on so big the one day in 2 foot of water, he couldn't get the net under it, and it was jumping off of his boat. And it was just, he couldn't get it netted. It was going absolutely insane. I was anchored right next to him laughing. It was a big fish, but he ended up losing it because he couldn't get it in the net. It just freaked out on him, and it was in like a 1.5 2 foot of water. It's pretty funny. I was laughing. He was pretty mad because he just lost a big fish, but I thought it was funny.
Brad Sparks says he has a pontoon boat and is looking at putting a live well on it. What DIY live well is best for monster cats? I've seen toolboxes and water troughs. Is that the best option?
I wouldn't put a water trough on. personally. I don't. I mean, they're okay, but if the toolbox is going to be much better, and use some type of circulation pump in there with an overflow, and it's pretty cheap, easy to build, and they're pretty good sized. The water troughs work, but I've fished tournaments, especially in Alabama, where we weigh in a lot of big fish. You'll see 70s, 80s, 90s even brought in, and I can tell you this one. If it's anywhere near warm, every fish that's ever came in to the scales in a trough was either dead or struggled leaving, and he wound up dying because I know he didn't make it. He swam off, but
Well, you had told me at one point, man, it's kind of sad after these big tournaments to go fish where they release the fish the next day.
Listen, if you go up there on any of these big 200 tournament or 200 entry sea arcs and stuff, or I'm not just picking on sea arc, right? Bama Blues, any of the ones, there's big fish waiting down. If you go up there the next day, you're going to find at least 2 or 3 big fish floating down that river.
That's just the ones you see.
That's just the ones you see. A lot of those fish, I honestly believe a lot of those fish that get caught in tournaments, and especially the ones that get caught early in the warm days, they don't make it. I really don't think they do.
Agree. Here's one thing I think that is not something that you can even measure. It's when they lose their slime coat, and what effect does that have on them for the next month?
Because, that's huge.
Yeah. Huge. That's huge.
That's their protected barrier.
To a point where I don't even like measuring them, weighing them in the net anymore, because guys like, man, how come you're not weighing that fish? I'm like, I've weighed enough of them in the net to know that as soon as I put it in this net, it really mutilates these fish.
Yeah, I don't typically do it. I had to weigh one. I haven't weighed a fish in months, right? Other than my friend's PB that was on my boat. And that one wound up being like 73. But I just don't like doing it because, like you said, you're taking the slime coat off those fish. It's just not good, right? And
not good. And I'm like, man, what's wrong? Here's one thing, Steve. My son caught the junior state record. And when we were weighing it, and we had it on video because we wanted to win some money for Mad Cats. And somebody said, man, what's wrong with that fish? There wasn't nothing wrong with the fish. Got weighed in the net, and we did it quickly. The damage that was done to it was done when we put it in the freaking wet net to weigh it, because the weight of that giant fish in that webbing, it looked like it had been drugged behind a freaking truck. By the time we were done with it, it was bloody. It was scarred. It looked freaking. And I thought, man, after this, I probably don't want to be doing this anymore. And somebody said, man, you need, it's good that you weighed it in that sling. And I said, man, as soon as I started weighing them in this sling, because before that, I would weigh them like, somebody gave me a lot of shit because I weighed a big one on a grip. And I thought, all right, well, I'll get this sling. This is probably 3 or 4 years ago. I got the sling, and I'm like, I start seeing the sling has way more freaking damage to these big fish than when I was weighing it on a damn gripper. They're like, you're going to break the jaw. I'm like, well, I've been weighing these fish in a gripper for 20-something years. I ain't never freaking hurt one before, but now I got to use this weight sling because y'all are giving me shit on Facebook about weighing it, on a gripper. And now I'm seeing I'm really damaging the hell out of these fish in my sling. So I just kind of quit doing it. And occasionally if my son catches one and I'm going to try to win $500, I'll weigh it because, he gets to win $500. Or if I got somebody on the boat but I really hate weighing the damn things now because it seems like that's the hardest freaking part. That's the hardest thing on the fish is when you start trying to weigh the damn thing.
Yeah, I typically just throw them back like right away, or if they put up a good fight, I'll put them in the live well on oxygen just for a little bit before I release them. But when I release a blue cat, flatheads are different. When I release a blue cat, I take the fish like this, and I tip it head first, and I throw it in the water.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
I've never in my life had a blue cat float back up when I did that.
Yeah,
I've
they
had-
typically, if there's any air left in them, they burp themselves.
Yep.
They do that.
So when I released them like a flathead, holding them there, I've already had them. All right, they're good. They're biting. I let them go. Guess what? I'm reeling my shit up and going to pick that fish up. So like, I always sling them in the freaking river like this, head first. Never had one float back. Flathead, I won't do that.
Down to the bottom. And,
But-
you know, like even when we're trying to release one gently and it doesn't want to go down, I always tell guys, we're going to
Just
dive this fish. Just
dive
dive it. And
Yep.
then keep an eye out to make sure. But typically when you dive them down, you'll see a big air bubble come up and they go down and they're fine.
But I've seen too many big fish in tournaments wind up dying, right? Like, honestly. And they'll catch these fish in August. It's hot. They catch them at 8 o'clock in the morning. They stick them in the live well all day. That fish ain't making it. I don't give a crap if it swims off or not. That fish is now dead. So they used to make me mad when we got a bunch of crap because we tossed the freaking small fish back into the river. All right? You guys are throwing fish. Well, you guys are freaking out there hooking them through the eyes, killing fish in your live wells, and we're not saying shit to you. You know, come on. But I don't know. I kind of got
Steve,
I got away from the tournament a little. Me personally, I just like to fish for fun. I like to catch big catfish. I like to have other people that never caught big catfish to have catch them on my boat. And I don't feel like I need to make money catfishing. If I had to make money catfishing and that was my source of income, I wouldn't be living like I am now. I can tell you that.
I'll tell you, I have backed off of a lot of tournaments myself.
It takes the fun out of it too, right? Like it becomes a job now where like if us three went out on a Tuesday night, right? And we went out on Texoma and Jamie caught the state record, 30-pound catfish. That would be the best day of fish I ever had. And I'd rather do that than win $100,000 fishing the freaking Mississippi because I don't know. I don't know. I
do know. I know exactly what you're saying.
It's just more fun.
Both ways to me.
It's more fun.
Fishing. Yeah.
Yeah, I've backed way off on tournament fishing.
I'll still fish them here and there, right? But I'm not like going to go out of my way. Yeah. It's just
my buddy's like, when you gonna get back into tournament fishing?
No.
You know, one thing is I have to, because my son's my fishing partner. Do I want to really subject him because it's not really good. It's not really good.
And you see, like, every big tournament, somebody's protesting something or bringing up something about the rules. The rules are there. Here's the rules, black and white. Follow them. Don't be a jerk. If somebody catches a big old fish, go shake their hand, even if you hate them, right? Like, come on, guys. It's just, I don't know. And they're not all like that. Some of them are run really well, but I feel like the bigger they get and the more money involved, the more drama and the more bullpen,
I make a good living, so I don't need to try to make a living fishing. Thank God.
Yeah,
it's my passion and it's fun, and I enjoy sharing time on the water with my brothers. If I do, I will compete a little bit, but that doesn't drive me, and I don't need that to somehow validate me as a great angler.
Nope.
I mean, hell, we've broken enough records to freaking.
Yeah, it's like you get to that point where it's like, all right, there's nothing to prove here, but
my buddies will say,
Chris, big fish.
We went all over the country in this damn Twisted Cat tournament, and I got to drive all the way back to Texas looking and seeing what you caught.
And I'll tell you what, if you
I'm like, well, I would like to go fish where I'd like, I want to go fish where I like to fish, where I think I'm gonna catch good fish.
and not only that, like for me, there'd be a tournament, and it's like, all right, you have to fish on this day from this time to this time. Well, the conditions might be absolutely horrible. I don't even want to go, right? Like, I'd rather pick my own tournament. Like, I'll go out there sometimes, and I'll be like, I've done it already. I was like, I'm fishing tournament tonight by myself, and I'll see what my two biggest are in my over, right? Like, and I'm competing against myself, and if I don't hit 130 tonight, I stink.
That's like me and Rebecca. When me and Rebecca goes, she's got her side of the boat, I got my side of the boat. We'll compete against each other, and that's just as much fun,
I'll tell you what, me and Justin done that a couple times, even on my boat, and every fish, he caught 11 fish. I didn't catch any on his side. So I take my side of the boat and I start casting my lines over on his side, and he still caught the next 5 fish. There's something about that guy. He catches all the dang fish.
There you go, man. That's a lot of fun. A lot of fun times for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Wallace says, 100,000 is 100,000. LOL.
That's all right. Go have them. That's right there is the guy I fish with really well. But we fish tournaments really well together, honestly, me and Fudd. Like, we just jive. Like, we do really good. Everyone we've ever went to, we do really good.
Heck yeah. Yeah, he's been in here for a little while joking around in chat.
I haven't even been looking too much. I'm sure he has.
Matter of fact, he said he must not know I'm in chat earlier. Oh man.
But yeah, he's been tournament catfishing for I don't know, ask him, probably 20 years. He's been around. Chris Wallace. He's fished them all. He's seen a lot of stuff over the years. Put it that way. Oh yeah.
Oh man. Let's see here.
Well, where y'all fishing this weekend? Steve,
Chris,
I work this weekend. I'm not fishing.
I'm going trout fishing, so
that's fun.
We'll see. It'll be fun.
You take the trout and then you take them home and use them for bait for the catfish. It's fun.
Yeah.
Trout's good bait.
I used to use trout for striper up at when Possum Kingdom was the world record striper lake. Below that dam, we could catch freaking monsters. And allowed to
the flatheads, they like trout. Flatheads will eat the crap out of trout.
Yeah.
Hey, everything likes trout. They don't even have to be stocked in the fishery. There's something magical about trout. All fish will eat it. Pretty much.
I think I'm headed down to Santee maybe Saturday night.
Hope you get a hundo.
We definitely gonna try.
Recently out of there.
You gotta show JBN how that fishing does not suck on Santee. And then you can talk a whole bunch of crap.
I know them boys, I believe they spent a week down there for that tournament and stuff. Santee, man, can be a little wicked here and there, but we normally can find some pretty good ones down there. I know
they usually do pretty damn good, Jamie, but it is in your neck of the woods, so there's something to that. But
yeah, I haven't fished it as much as I've been wanting to, that's for sure, because I've backed way off from a lot of the tournament fishing and stuff down there.
You've been working. You hadn't been fishing at all. And
no.
I thought you were retired.
Saturday night was the first time. Saturday night was the first time we went fishing since December.
Boat's been in the shop.
Boat's been in the shop, and plus we've been so busy, right here. We haven't had time to even go.
Dude, I don't even know how you can do that. My wife would freaking kill me. She's like, you're an asshole. You need to go fishing.
Well, we've made a pact that at least one day a week we're going to go fishing regardless how busy we are or what. So we gonna make it one day a week.
That's a good schedule to try to adhere to.
So recently, like a couple months ago, there's a website called hornblasters.com. They sell the train horns with big compressors.
Yeah,
best
my buddy's got one on his boat.
investment. It's the best investment you can make for your boat. Put some damn train horns on there because you're getting everybody's attention for miles. It's fun.
Crazy. Yeah. My buddy rolls up to the ramp and he's like,
They're on the top of my boat right now with the big air compressor in there.
Oh,
But
man.
I mean, honestly, when those bass guys, I've already been fishing 200-300 foot off the bank, if that, like 100 foot, and they run 80 miles an hour between me and the bank with my lines out.
Yeah.
It's like, geez, man. I know they're fishing for $300,000, whatever the heck it be, but you don't have to do that. You can simply go around me. Oh, that makes me mad.
Man, that's their nature, Steve. That's all they know is to mess up somebody's fishing. That's for sure.
Chris Wallace says, scare the shit out of your sleeping partner.
Yeah.
I imagine that would give you a heart attack.
We'd be out there fishing. He'd be sleeping because he likes to sleep a lot at night. And I'll tap the train horns on him.
JVN says Santee sucks.
I need to head up towards their area, up towards Lake Gaston and Bugs and James up there. Try some of that area.
Go up there. If you guys would go up there and spend a week, let me know. Because I can try to up there, but guys are like, "How do you think you do?" I'm like, "Well, I might not do good day one, but give me a few days to freaking scan. I mean, give me some days on the graph to look. I think I do pretty damn good. Just need some time to figure the damn thing out. So if y'all go up there, either one of you boys, you let me know.
Just don't go to Gaston.
Don't go to Gaston.
Gaston does actually suck.
Well, I'll mark that one off the bucket list there for sure.
Zach Royce does really good there, but he lives on the freaking lake, all right?
Man.
But
that place definitely,
that
I think November, we're headed up to the James on November, I believe, in November. So we're going to go a week early for that one.
For what, the King of the James?
No, it's for a Operation Vets with Nets that they're doing up there. So we're going to go up there and support, and we're going to probably go up a week. November. Yep. That's
the James River spot.
We're fishing up there, right?
Yeah.
And y'all are going to fish for how long?
Uh-oh, he froze.
All right. That was me?
No, it's just him. There he goes.
Froze. So you're going up there in November. How long are you going?
If the plans stay the way they are now, Chris, things don't change. We're going to be there for a week.
Can I come?
Yeah. If that other thing goes through, then I won't be there, but maybe a day or two.
Okay. Well, I need to be there longer than that because I'm not going. I'm going.
But if we go for a week, definitely, brother, let's roll.
I'm going to hand a beat down to that lake. It might take me a few days to get it.
Were you ever there?
What's that?
Were you ever there?
No.
What about you, Jimmy? You were never there?
I've
never been there. No.
Have you?
Where, in the James?
Yeah. No.
Oh,
no.
what's
Bugs?
Oh, I thought you said you were going to the James for that tournament.
I'll be going to James for that tournament.
Oh, I thought you were going to the Operation Vets. That's on the James?
That's on the James.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a lot of time on the James.
I've never fished it.
I fished it a lot.
Okay, I thought you were talking about Bugs.
No, Bugs is the one I want to go to also. They have some tournaments up there on the Bugs, and that's another one I want to go up there too.
Yeah, put it on that lake.
So I took a job working Friday. I only work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's it. So I specifically cannot.
90-pound fish in Santee eat grass shrimp. What the F?
What do they do?
He said 90-pound fish
Oh boy.
Santee eat grass shrimp. What the F? Man. We should do a camping fishing weekend somewhere, says Brad Sparks.
If you ever want to have a really good time, have Randy Carter on your boat and hook him into an 83-pounder and watch him reel it in.
Yeah, I seen the videos.
We were freaking dying laughing.
I seen the videos and some of the pictures y'all during y'all's trip, man. That was pretty wild.
Oh man, we freaking, oh boy, I don't even want to talk about that week. Yeah. So, when things get out of hand and you're having a good time on the boat, and you're like, man, this has gone just too far, and it possibly can't go any further, and it just keeps escalating. That's Randy, all right? He's out of his freaking mind.
What was that fish that he bit into? Was that a skipjack or what was that?
Skipjack. It was skipjack. And he actually ate the butthole out of it with the poop coming out of it.
Yeah. No, thank you for me.
Listen, it was 2:00 in the morning, and he's on the back deck battling some Indian kid on TikTok in his boxers with a fish in his mouth dancing. All right. And then he did a backflip off of the boat in the middle of Wheeler Lake at 2 a.m. as we were dragging. He's out of his mind.
No,
I don't think I never laughed so hard in my life. I'm telling you, it was, and I look at country JBN over there, and I'm like, John, what in the heck? And he goes, that's just normal night.
Man. I ain't need nah, that's all right.
I mean, he literally squeezed like a little bit out of it.
I'm cringing even thinking about it.
But he said if he caught an 80, he was gonna do it. And well, guess what? He caught one. He didn't back out. I'll give him that.
Oh man. I was trying to go through the chat right here. Let's see. Chris, are you able to see anything on the YouTube side of it? I can't see nothing.
I can't tell the difference anymore.
Yeah.
I see mostly Facebook, which is typically our show. Mostly Facebook.
Yep. Me too,
Looks
brother.
like all Facebook. YouTubers got scared. They left.
No comment.
Then he said we died in a storm after that.
Damn.
So they never seen an Alabama.
Uh-oh. There goes Steve.
Oh, we lost Steve.
He booted himself. Yeah, Alabama storms are very similar to Texas storms. When they got bad tornadoes.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, so yeah, we were out there fishing with Randy.
Texas storms.
We were out there fishing the one night, us three. And I said, oh boy, storm's coming. It rained so hard. I mean, you couldn't see anything. We get up to the dock, they freaking take off. I'm literally standing on the dock holding my freaking rope for my boat and blowing away. It's like 60 mile an hour winds. They're like, what the frick is going on? I was like, this ain't even a bad one. I'm just trying to hold the boat.
Brad said we lost the YouTubers at Anus when he started talking about that.
Yeah, we're not real popular with the YouTube crowd, which that's fine. It's fine. Whatever. Well, Jamie, anything you want to promote before we
Man,
get out of here?
I just want to say I've had a great time tonight, Steve. Enjoyed you being on, brother. It's been real, and definitely we got to do it again, brother.
Yeah.
What are you doing up
So,
out of here?
and I want to say to everybody in chat, man, thank y'all guys so much for hanging out, asking some questions, and having a good time.
Appreciate you, Steve. Appreciate everybody coming in, spending some time with us, and hearing about eating.
That was just, I don't know. It was pretty- he said he was gonna do it if he caught Navy, so he couldn't. We weren't letting him back out.
I will say, man, we need y'all to get together, guys. Let's definitely do some fishing. I believe
like
it would
come
be
y'all's way sometime. Do some fishing. So
around September in Louisiana. That is,
I'm down for
when,
that.
when they start running that green, we could literally anchor 5 boats next to each other, and everybody would catch over 100 fish in one day.
Yeah, we definitely got plans.
It's really that crazy.
September.
It's stupid.
I'll be jumping on one of y'all's boats because I ain't dragging the War Machine freaking 14 hours.
Yeah, it's gonna be about 13-hour drive for me.
It's freaking white knuckles driving that fucking thing down the highway, man. It's wide and heavy. And
mine's really big, but I got a really big trailer with those freaking oil or the oil hubs, not the grease. So I don't got to worry about it. It drive that thing. You don't even. I can go freaking to Alaska with it. But all my other boats, I was always popping bearings and wheels flying off on the highway. It's a nightmare, you know.
I love that greaseless bearings, man. Where we got the oil, you don't have to worry about them, and
it's the best investment you can make if you fish a lot. It is. I mean, they're expensive, but you don't ever have issues. And then I actually take my brakes off, right?
Yeah.
I know I just got to be careful because I got a big boat, but I don't run brakes, and I have those oil hubs. No issues ever, right? I don't ever break down. And I also got it's called Hercules. They're 14 ply tires. It's basically a tractor trailer tire for a trailer, you know. And that's like, I mean, how many times do you see people breaking down on the side of the highway? Like Anthony Brown, he drives all over. Look, he's always broken down. Right?
I think he's putting a whole transom or something on his boat now.
But I mean, he travels a lot and fishes a lot. But I mean, if you take them brakes off and put them freaking $800 hubs in there and put the freaking good tires on there, you'll never have an issue, right?
It makes me want to change some of my stuff.
I mean, it gets expensive when if you're driving down the highway and you lose a wheel and it slams down on that gets expensive quick, right? And then if it's like 1 a.m. and there's no one open, now it gets really expensive. You ever have to tell? I freaking broke down on the side of the highway towing my boat, and I had over 100 live suckers in a 150-gallon tank in my boat. My wheel. I'm driving down the road, and there's a tractor trailer next to me. And I was like, man, that tractor trailer is making a lot of noise. What the freak? And then all of a sudden, here comes my tire of my trailer coming past me.
I did that going to a tournament last year in Santee Cooper. I was on the way to Santee, and the rim, the tire, everything.
Oh, yeah. But it was like 12 at night. I had 100 freaking suckers like this big in there. And my buddy Dave had to come rescue me, bring all kinds of tanks. And then they actually had a big flatbed, and he towed it up on there. And man, it cost me like $2,000 that night.
Man. But yeah, man, let's all get together and plan something in September. That sounds like a blast.
I'm game always. So
heck yeah.
Appreciate you guys stopping in, spending some time with us. Jamie Dunn, anything you want to promote?
Man, brother, I just want to say, guys, we might have something new tomorrow or what's tomorrow? Thursday, maybe Friday. We got something new that we're gonna be showing off. So definitely check us out tomorrow or Friday.
I'll be off the water this weekend, but I'll be on the river trying to catch some rainbow trout.
You sound excited.
It's gonna be fun, but there's no guarantees in rainbow trout fishing.
So make sure you sneak up on them. Don't let them see you.
Yeah.
I'm serious. They'll take off.
Yeah.
You gotta sneak up on them. It sucks. If they see you, they're gone.
Yeah.
Yep. Man.
We'll see how it goes. So
Yeah.
we might be buying dinner. So
I know what's gonna happen after this weekend. You're gonna sell the war machine and start fishing for trout. I can see it happening.
No, never gonna happen, bro. So what I'm probably gonna do after this weekend is I'm probably gonna go target alligator gar for the next, I don't know, at least 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks.
You could always buy a glitter boat. Go catch some bass.
I've had glitter boats 25 years ago, but
No, I would love to go catch an alligator gar. I never caught one. Honestly, I think that'd be cool.
oh, dude, you'd love it then. It's like saltwater fishing.
Where's the Trinity? Is that down there?
Trinity's here. Yeah, it runs
There's
right.
the big ones there, huh?
My lake, my home lake is where the alligator gar start. So below my home lake, all the way south to the coast, those stretches of river. But I typically, when I drive about 2 hours south because that water is.
They say it's a lot harder to catch the really big ones than it was just 10, 20 years ago. Like the 9, 10 footers, they're just almost non-existent.
Yeah.
Today,
a 7-footer is a trophy.
Yeah, and you used to, like, whatever, a decade or two ago, you used to be able to catch 7 footers all the time.
Yeah, well, I mean,
yeah.
You can still
maybe a little longer than that. But yeah,
but 7-footer is 220.
No,
it's a big ass fish.
Oh yeah,
it'll tickle your fancy. I guarantee you, buddy. When you hang into a 7, and they're like,
yeah, huge.
They're like this wide. They're literally look like a freaking alligator. Their mouth, I mean,
yeah.
it's like this. I mean.
I'd be afraid that thing will chomp my arm off.
That's exactly
you got to be careful because they come right at you. Like last time I went with my buddy Jesse Campbell, he got shredded by one. And it's not like they do it intentional, but they
don't intend.
It's an exciting fish fight because when you get them close to the boat, they come right at. I mean, sometimes they will come up in the boat. With mouth like open coming at you. So when you get one close, you get that camera ready because usually it's.
Yeah, I might have to go down there this year and try to catch one.
Come on down, man. Come on down. It's really fires up starting about May, but then it's all summer long. I get my boat in May, in about the first half of June. Then after that, I got to hit up all my buddies that have river boats.
Yeah, jet boats and stuff.
Yeah. Yep, I'm going June 6th with my buddy that used to have the world record, Chris Moody. So that ought to be a fun trip. I'm supposed to have a trip with my buddy Bill here in a couple of weeks. We're going to go, not sure where we're going to go, but I'm going to go with him. And then I've got my buddy Jesse Campbell. He goes a lot. So I'd like to go down there take our boys. It's fun watching these kids try to fight a 200-pound fish. So it's good times. We're gonna switch it up. Yep, you gotta use a lasso to handle them, but before you lasso them, it's a crazy fish battle. Almost every one of them shows out right in front of you. So. Guys, y'all want to come, just hit me up. We'll get something figured out.
I'll be out there on Clearwater in probably August. in Florida. There's a big wreck out there at Clearwater, and all the
catch the grouper.
Yeah, the groupers migrate, and that's where they spawn on this huge wreck out there, out in the ocean. It's only like 35 foot deep, but there's 700 pounders in there.
Yeah,
So,
it's crazy that fish pick you.
That was a baby compared to how big they are, but I want to get one like 500-600 pounds this year. So
yeah, I heard it's a hell of a fight.
Well, you only need to catch one, right, Steve? And that's pretty much you just get one and you're smoked.
Yeah, you can't. It's hard to catch more than one.
Yeah,
because it's weird though, because like there's different ways to fish for them. When you're fishing for them Goliath groupers in the ocean, not at the piers or the docks, in the ocean, there's big structure down there. There's big wrecks and stuff. Yeah. And
my buddies that do it, they say, my guide buddies that guided for them, they say when they put, like, they catch them off the platforms, and when they catch one, they freaking throw it in drive and take off in the boat and try to pull that thing out of there as quickly as possible. Is that is that a similar technique?
Well, no, it's more torture technique. So, AVET 130 reels, which are the biggest 150 pounds of drag, the biggest reels you can buy. 600-pound cable for mainline with 24-aught hooks.
Oh my god!
And you tighten it down and hold the freak on. You actually have to take the rod in between your leg like this and hold it and sit back on it and give it everything you have. And if everything you have ain't enough, it will pull you right over if someone ain't holding you. One actually, we hooked into a big one last time, and it snapped the 600-pound cable.
Holy smokes!
They pulled really hard, so it's not like a really long battle, but it's like going one round with Mike Tyson in his prime, right?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna get beat up, right? Like it's crazy. But the reason that you have to fight them like that, because if you give them any leadway, they're wrapped up in that wreck because they go right in it deep, and you'll lose them. So like when you see those guys catching them off the pier and stuff, or at the docks, there ain't quite that much structure, so they don't have to use as heavy gear, right? So they can let them run a little bit. So you don't really necessarily need that setup, but you do on that wreck out in the ocean, because it will go back down in there and it will break you off. It'll even break 400-pound monos, right?
Yeah.
So it's fun. But after one, it's like,
you're good. You're like,
you don't want to go for another round because it's 120 degrees outside and you're just giving it you feel like your head's going to explode, right? Like it's really like, I thought this ain't going to be crap. They can't do that stuff. And there I go, friggin' back pulled off the dang boat, and it was only like 250 pounds. I said, dang, what if it was 600? I couldn't even imagine.
Dang.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I just never felt anything pull that hard, not even close, with the straight down, just big. Yeah. It's like, imagine a flathead that's 600 pounds. That's what it is. You know what I mean?
Damn.
Well, like when we catch big sharks down at the coast, you don't really fight them. You just got to pretty much let them run. And stop. You just work, to tire them out. And when they decide to run, you quit the cranking and they run and run and run. 200, another 100 yards or 200 yards, and then when they stop. So this is different. You fight the hell out of them.
Yeah, and it's quick, right? Because once they get up to the top, they're done, right? Like they don't go running. Like if you go down there, to the oil rigs and stuff and catch 180-pound freaking yellowfin tuna, that's a 3-4 hour fight. You're gonna get your ass handed to you. But it's not as that, like the groupers are more just like this is the 3 minutes of hell, right? Like this is rough, right? Like it ain't a long fight, but it's a holy shit. Why am I fishing for them like this? This is stupid.
Oh man, that sounds like fun.
If you've never done it, get down there and go do it. I'm telling you.
I'm gonna have to do it for sure. I've always wanted to catch one of those, and I want to catch a big blue marlin.
Yeah.
I would love to do that too, but man, those trips, if you don't know somebody, you're spending a couple $1,000s and you might not catch anything.
Yeah.
But they're 3-4 day trips, like $3-4 grand plus tips, and you're not even guaranteed to fish. So
yeah, these really good guys now they use the drones to find them.
Yeah.
It's in the drone. It's like, damn. They're like, yeah, it's changed the game. We get out here and throw the drone up, and you can locate them a lot faster than using electronics. So
My luck, I go down there, spend all that money, hook in the one, fight it for 3 hours, and it shake the hook loose. That'd be my luck.
Yeah, that would definitely suck, man.
Oh man, if I'm gonna spend that, my wife's like, when are we gonna? I know you want to go. When are we gonna go? I'm like, whenever I can find the right guide, because I want it to be damn near a guarantee. So
Stuff. It'd be cool though. That stuff's that's big boy fishing right there though. That costs the boats alone, are just it's crazy.
Rich Segura's texting now. It's too late to be texting, Rich. It's 9:30, buddy. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all stopping in. Steve, appreciate you joining us, man. It's been fun.
Yep.
Welcome back anytime. Maybe we can talk tactics, some other time.
Okay.
Jamie Dunn, appreciate you, bro.
Hey, I've enjoyed it, guys.
Spent some time with us. Love you guys. Thanks for being a part of what we're doing. Tight lines. God bless. Azul out.
Appreciate it, everybody.
All right. See you.